Hey, welcome back to the channel. So, gotta love that. Oh, guys, it's been one crazy week this week, and of course, I was live streaming yesterday, and yeah, came to a couple conclusions, and had some special guests on, and it was really interesting how things unfolded. So many different revelations, and a lot of things that really we all sort of are looking at these truths that are happening with these crowdsourced projects. And you know what? I just can't. I just kind of sort of wondering, you know, what's the difference now? We have crowdsourced projects for massive, high-priced items, but we also similarly have, you know, pre-orders for massively high-priced items. And what is the difference? What's better? What are the pros and what are the cons of both of these ideas? And you know what? Does this actually work? There are and who is it working for, right? Do companies like Mattel and Hasbro, right, billion-dollar companies, do they really need to crowdsource projects? And why? Why do these types of things? There's a lot of back and forth on multiple things that happen, throughout multiple campaigns. But at the end of the day, um, I just want to ask the question: what what is it really, and who's it working for? I mean, you look at all the companies that are out there right now, whether they're big companies like Mattel, Hasbro, Jazzware, all these different companies that are out there, NECA, right? And throughout the years, right, multiple times we've seen certain companies just dip their toes into crowdsourcing. But at the same time, they've also done what they call pre-orders, and for better or worse, it seems to work for them in certain regards. But at the end of the day, it's the fans who the consumer who needs to make the decision as to whether or not to support any of these projects. And I really just wanted to take a deep dive and examine what was going on with these projects. The other thing is there are also companies out there who are not Fortune 500 companies who are really really small, right? Take Super 7 for example. They are a boutique, what we would call a boutique toy company. They're well below the $1 billion mark, like extremely well below that. They might make somewhere in the millions of dollars a year making toys, but it's nowhere near the size of a company like Mattel or Hasbro. Having said that, their prices in a lot of collectors' eyes are massively inflated. Or are they? The reality is that when you come to the idea of mass manufacturing, making toys which are not prototyped type of ideas with the advent of what's called the advent of, how can I say this properly, prototyping 3D objects, right? That really has opened the door for a lot of different creators, right? Being able to make your own action figures, being able to make your own prototypes, like gearing or anything like that, has really taken off in terms of like the world of prototyping. It's also allowed for toy companies to begin showcasing what they want to sell, well ahead of time, because they can show these early prototypes well before they even go to tooling, which is a massively expensive endeavor. That being the case, we do have an opportunity in multiple ways to actually create what we call, of course, crowdsourcing. And there have been a number of different companies out there who have taken advantage of this because, again, they are so small. RoboSkull is a good example of that. The Airwolf project, which was released a couple of last year around some time. A lot of these projects which have come to fruition, right? Have actually had successful crowdsourcing campaigns, but equally so, even Valaverse. Valaverse started off as a crowdsourced project, right? And it really does bring to light the kind of separation that we have with big box companies versus smaller projects and smaller companies. Um, but does it work? Right? That's really. And what are the pitfalls? And how long do you have to wait before you actually get your products? What is it that can do? And who has it actually worked for? Like what industries does it actually work for? These are a ton of questions which I was mulling over in my head. Um, and I find that certain projects, particularly the comic book projects, seem to be very well funded, depending on the subject matter. If you have an idea in your head, if you have a concept, and you want to write a story or write a graphic novel or write something, right? Um, and your story is compelling enough to an audience to actually get it published. You can actually get your own comic book published within a certain time frame and deliver it to the people who want to read it. That's actually a huge way of doing these things. And you know what? It has worked for some people, it doesn't for others. I hope to have a guest today who might be able to help us navigate these waters and talk a little bit more about crowdsourcing as a whole. But before we get to that, I did want to touch up on where we are with certain projects that are actually ongoing right now. For example, we are we're always talking about these two projects, and you know what? This has become a big hot button topic, right? Specifically now, because again, Hasbro in general is the one that really has brought um, crowdsourced projects to the forefront for larger companies. Companies like Mattel have followed suit in certain regards, and now we have both companies having projects running at the parallel at the same time, and one of them is doing well. They're both right now. Let's just be honest; they're both sort of in the same boat at this exact same moment, right on the precipice of either success or failure. It's really interesting the way these two have actually come to fruition. And you know what? Let's take a quick look at that now. But before we do, let's go say hi to some people in the chat. Everyone's been here and waiting patiently. Rerum Trading, what's going on, Rerum? Good to see you, my friend. First like, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Rhea Black, hey Rhea, what's going on? Good to see you. Kevin Harbert, hey, what's going on, Kevin? Good to see you. Nolan, hey, we're going. Nolan, what's going on? Payne's toy samples prefer pre-orders. There you go. So there are preferences that people have, and that's very important. We have to look at those distinctions as well. Micah, hey, what's going on, Micah? Good to see you, brother. Awesome to see you here tonight. Aaron Hardy, pre-orders are for the cheap things. I hate missing pre-order windows. Need to find these 3 classified figures. No idea when they'll be in Canada. This is the other problem with pre-orders. But I'm more or less leaning towards pre-orders for items which are only offered, as exclusive. Sorry, I really should have clarified that. Not thinking about it now, I should have cleared that from the very beginning. But at any rate, we're gonna get to that. Aaron, you misspelled Canada. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Jermaine Hunter, what's going on, Jermaine? Good to see you, my friend. Payne's toy samples. It's the higher risk projects that get crowdsourced at bigger companies, but they have stockholders they're accountable to, which is interesting. Which makes a huge factor in terms of how these things get funded, and it can be daunting and also a major problem when actually getting these projects off the ground. Because when you're a smaller boutique company and you are not beholden to the shareholder, you don't really have to answer to anybody. But you still have to answer to somebody, obviously. But when you do have a Fortune 500 company, someone you are again at the behest of shareholders and people who there are teams surrounding this type of company. Then the red tape starts to hit you really hard. And you know what, you have to be a little bit more careful and watch out. For example, if you have a property which is licensed, those things can really hinder the progress of your overall campaign. Yeah, let's see. Nolan, pre-orders, I don't mind if done right, because then if you want, you can get one. But Hasbro and Mattel are doing crowdfundings is kind of insulting. They want their cake and eat it too. So that's an interesting concept, Nolan. However, it's not as cut and dry as a lot of people would imagine, right? And we're going to try and examine that tonight. I'm hoping that a few people can jump on board and give us some insights, but that's okay if they can't. But when you think about a project, for instance, well, let's just put it out there. When you think of a project which is kind of like Eternia, right? It's a massive project. It's the playset is 3 feet, 4 feet wide by 3 feet high. Those are huge, gigantic dies that got to be made out of metal in order to make these things, and press them, and make 20, 30, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, however they make. And the investment on that alone is gigantic. So in order to get a return on investment, that cost has to be put back to someone, and unfortunately, it has to be put back to the consumer. So if we're talking about a crowdsource project which can only hit 5,000, for example, let's just put it that way, right? If a die costs, however much to make, let's just say, just throwing a number out there, let's say $500,000 to make it. I don't know if that's actually true or not, right? I really have no idea about that. But let's just assume that the dies that are required to make Eternia is like $500,000. Let's just say that, right? Because they're probably cost a lot more because they're gigantic, right? So then you have that initial investment. Then to actually produce each and every one of them, the company that's producing it for you, wants $400 per unit, right? Because again, the time, the paint, the labor, the injection molding, this costs a lot of money. And of course, they have other customers which they need to serve, so they literally got to give you a time slot in order to actually get those things produced. So all of that takes it into account. So that their cost to you is $400 a unit. Let's just say that. So you have a $500,000 investment already, and then each unit is going to cost you $400 each. So what do? Whatever it costs you to actually produce the die, you divide that into how many units you need to actually do a minimum quantity order, right? Because the production house, the facility actually says, okay, in order for you to do these things, it needs to be worth our while. $400 a copy, and we need a minimum of 5,000 copies, right? And then you divide the number to where you can actually create a profit, and all of a sudden you have a number, right? And in this case, as far as Eternia is concerned, it's $550, which they have to charge to the consumer. That's their minimum quantity order. Now, you look at that and it's a huge number, and we start thinking, okay, wait, that seems to be gouging. Not really. The reality is that that's actually where they need to be in order to actually just make a break even point and possibly make a tiny little bit of profit on top, right? I don't know the business 100%, but I do understand the logistics of economies of scale, right? The idea is the more units you make, the cheaper the cost gets, because the factory making them doesn't actually have to charge you as much for like 10,000 units versus 5,000 units, right? So that's the overall economies of scale. To actually get to the 10,000 unit though, Mark, again, it's hard to say. And that, in terms of like what we're doing here with crowdsourcing, that's where you sort of say, okay, fine. So we make the minimum of 5,000, and then if they make 10,000, they get a price break. Shouldn't they return that money back to the consumer? Well, the idea is no, because they've already set a price. They're not going to punish the people who paid the original price, just because we made the units to a slightly higher price, right? So instead, what do? They say to you, okay, fine. Instead of, if you hit 8,000, we're going to give you a bonus. If you get 10,000, we're going to give you a bonus. And that's how they make the added value of that, something. But those bonuses need to come from molds which are more affordable, because again, it's one of those things which they're just going to throw in as a bonus, right? So it's all recalculated as things go along. And this is something that a lot of people are just not looking into. They're not really taking that into consideration when they look at a huge price tag like $550. Of course, it's massive. Of course, it's a huge investment. But in order to get there, that's what we have to do. Snake Mountain, was already, closer to $600. You know what I mean? When I purchased it, absolutely massive, right? And you know what? I gladly paid it. It was a dream come true. It's a dream project, and that's exactly the way that goes. I hope that makes more sense, Nolan. Payne. Privately owned companies like McFarlane can take risks that publicly traded companies cannot. This is true, but that risk costs them even more, right? Because they're not a Fortune 500 company. They don't have other properties to lean on. So every time McFarlane makes a mistake, or one of the products don't sell, it hurts him in the pocket quite big. So you know what? It gives him a little more leeway to do things, but it's in the end, it's a real struggle. Max S. Max X, good to see you, brother. I feel it's cheaper to produce due to technology. This is not untrue. It is cheaper to prototype, but the overall, when you get to mass manufacturing, that's something which doesn't change and has not changed over time. As a matter of fact, in certain regards, depending on where you manufacture, it's actually gotten more expensive. Now, uh, if you have existing partners, if you're a new toy company that's never been in the business, that's never, the toy the factories are basically going to take you for a ride. They're going to tell you, okay, it's going to be this much and this much and this much, and they're not going to give you any price breaks, right? But if you've had a relationship with a toy company for decades, like 30, 40 years, like Mattel has and Hasbro has, you can squeeze you literally can squeeze your suppliers for better deals. And the reason you do that is because you are bringing them every single year millions of dollars in work. So they would be foolish to actually try and strong arm you, saying, no, if you want this time, you have to give us a better deal, or you have to accept our prices. No, that's not the way that works. If you are bringing a company millions of dollars, then they say, okay, you gotta give us a better, you gotta take this price or leave it. They'll say, "No, well, we're leaving," and that of course will cost that factory millions of dollars for that year. So they won't risk that. And as a matter of fact, if they wanted to, Hasbro and Mattel again could squeeze them slightly for better rates, and that in and of itself does like can and does happen on multiple on multiple occasions. So it really what you're saying makes sense. It like technology has improved, everything's improved, but the basic idea of how to manufacture toys in a mold situation, that hasn't changed. It's the exact same way it was done 30 years ago. You build a die, you build a negative, a relief. It's injected with plastics. The molds, the dies themselves are gigantic, like huge metal blocks, right? And that costs a ton of money to make, regardless of where it's being tooled, right? Because again, they're unique tools. Um, we do have new lathes and new techniques on how to create those molds, but at the end of the day, the overall production of it hasn't really changed. It still takes a certain amount of time. It still takes a certain amount of money, and plastics are now becoming more expensive based on the restrictions that are being put down by multiple different countries, right? So it's a two-way street, unfortunately. It just and it continues to become a struggle year after year. Aaron, crowdsourcing bugs me when I want to cancel something. I don't understand. Why would that? Are you talking about after the campaign, Aaron, or are you talking about during the campaign? Because during the campaign, you can cancel it anytime. That makes no difference. But after the campaign, you might lose you actually you can't. The money's already been taken. So yeah, Aaron, please what's it called? Expand on that. I don't understand exactly what. I'm not 100% sure exactly what you're saying. Ty Jeremy Hanger, hey Mike, what's going on? Super 7 has it right for pre-orders, even though it takes quite a while. You know what? There's a good that is a good what's it called? That is a good a take on that. That's a good take. But it would be interesting if you could elaborate on that, Mike. Send me a PM on Instagram, Mike, and if you want to join the conversation tonight, I'll send you the link, and we can talk about this at length. Please definitely send me a message if you can. It's just on Instagram or on Facebook, Mike, whatever's easier. Just send me a PM, and I'll send you the StreamYard link, and we can talk about it. Okay, so Max S. Mattel is a company that has business and making money, and Eternia will make them tons of money. I'm not sure if it'll make them tons of money, but they're not going to take a loss on it. So yes, if they actually reach a certain like if they reach that 10,000 threshold, I'm pretty sure they're going to make some money for sure, 100%. And they're not going to take a loss on this, even at the 5,000 minimum threshold. They're making money. I don't know if it's a lot of money, but they are making money. Peg's Toy Apple, but they are excessively priced at Super 7. Again, we have to look at the economies of scale on that. And again, if Mike can join me, I would really love to discuss this at length with Mike or anybody else who has something to share for this conversation. That would be great. Old IT guy. I prefer crowdsourced models as if it's backed, you know that you'll be getting a product. Pre-order / prepay, you never know until you get your items. What kills me is the exchange rate in Canada. Well, it's interesting that you should say that, old IT guy. I don't think it's a case that you won't get a pre-order item. It's more like when. Because in 9 times out of 10, you will get your pre-ordered item, but the supplier who's supplying it to you, whether it's Target, whether it's Walmart, whether it's GameStop, that's where things are going to get rough. Because as we know, multiple people have had their pre-orders canceled from Target. So it's one of these things where where does, like, who do you trust, right? Who do you trust? All right, maybe, and you know what, we have a guest right now who might be able to help us navigate these murky waters. Guys, please welcome Osmandius Toys, Ostradamus Toys. Sorry, I don't know why I keep saying Osmandius. How's it going, Oz?
It's going good, Jay, and I know why you're saying it, because you love the Watchmen, and
yes, 100%. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. Just saw you posted the link, so I thought, you know what? Let me jump in on here and see what's going on.
Good to see you, Oz. Good to see you. What's your take on my current question for this evening? What are your thoughts about crowdsourcing versus pre-ordering?
Well, overall, I actually kind of enjoy the crowdsourcing as opposed to just pre-ordering. Pre-ordering is nice. It's a guarantee. Crowdsourcing, there's no guarantee it'll fully get backed, so it's kind of a gamble, but it also kind of it gives you a guarantee to know exactly how many of these items are going to be out there. They're not making extra on a crowdsource. So anytime you have something that's crowdsourced and you see how many backers it is, that is exactly how many quantity of that unit is going to be out there. And you own a piece of that if you back it.
Okay, so I think we do want to keep in mind, okay, and this is something I think that we do have to clarify. It's not that it's not that the company doesn't make any extra. They already have their cost pre-built into the I kind of explained it earlier. They have their cost pre-built into the unit. So what you're paying for the unit already has profit built into it, right? So right. Like I said, if it costs $400 per unit, like, again, I'm just doing it off the top of my head, but if it costs them $400 per unit to make, but then the die costs $500,000 to make, right? They need to divide that by 5,000, and then they come to a number plus a little bit extra for the profit, right? Because again, we're talking about billion-dollar companies here. They're not gonna lose their shirts on something like this. To them it wouldn't make any sense. So that I think is something we definitely have to keep in mind. Toy Bounty Hunter says, "Hey Jay, how's it going? Good to see you, Toy Bounty Hunter." Jermaine, I did find Slug and Crocmaster at Walmart, but still no Serpentor. I don't think you're going to find Serpentor anywhere.
It's going to be a while before Serpentor is available in store.
But I wonder if what Jermaine is saying is that there have been reports actually coming out that Serpentor has actually gone back on sale multiple times, and people were lucky enough to see it. And there's also Robot Kingdom, who offered it at a slightly inflated price, but at least you got a chance at pre-ordering it just for that. So,
well, that's really cool, because I know those went pretty quick over PulseCon. So it's nice that he had put in like a bulk order and was able to give that opportunity to a few extra people. God, I'm kind of hoping they just kind of release one at retail without the Sky Chariot.
I think that's coming. I think that my thinking, what's it called? My thoughts are that it's definitely going to how do you say it? They're definitely going to release a regular standard version, right? They're not gonna just release the Chariot version. This Chariot version, as they said, will be the only version of this Chariot that is for this campaign. I have a funny feeling they're going to re-release this Chariot as a Python Patrol version. It's going to be all crimson with red with hash lines and things like that. Really dumb repaints, right? But I think that this particular version of the chariot, the way it's painted, the way it's molded, things like that, I think this is the
Right.
only version you're going to get for this particular uh, exclusive, if you will.
I agree. That's a very particularly worded way to put that. Um, so I think yeah, you're probably right. We'll probably see some repaint variants, down the line, but this will probably be that core color scheme version.
Yes, I think that's exactly what the way things are going to evolve. Um, but it's one of these things where um, because of the crowdsourced nature of this, right? That actually is an exclusive, right? That's a pre-order, right?
Yeah,
But you know, so everyone wants a Pentor, so they sort of know that that's going to sell, so they're not worried about that.
yeah,
Whereas Robbie Reyes, right? The Robbie Reyes, they just don't know. They just have
yeah.
no idea, right?
And,
It's a risk for them.
right, and that's where it's important to put that at a crowdsource area, because if there's enough fans that want it, it's going to back without question. But once you put it up for pre-order and it's a go, you're gonna have to eat that cost if this thing peg warms. You
That's
know,
that's that's another consideration for many companies the size of Hasbro and Mattel, right? And the real problem with that is the optics, right? The optics of having a product not sell, right?
yeah,
That hurts you in the long run because people are like, oh, this was a failure, right? Why do you keep doing this? Like, how come these things are on the shelf 24/7, right? Which at the early stages of Origins, that was a massive problem in some states, right?
it's
Whereas
still kind of an issue, really, because again, Wave Six, or yeah, Wave Six, the mini comic Stratos wave, it's still sitting on shelves.
yes, yes, and the other thing that we have to take into consideration is that in some states it was a huge success, but in some states it's a huge peg warmers, and in some states they didn't even get anything. Right,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
distribution of these products has been dismal. It's been ridiculously a huge debacle, like
it's
massive.
terrible.
Right, and that's
Absolutely.
that's something we definitely have to take a look at it. It's just crazy. Max S says, I agree with you, Jay. However, that company to keep that die forever and make more sets. That's not true. As Aaron Hardy does actually say, also they cannot use them. They can only use a mold so many times before they need to make another. This is actually
Yeah,
true. So we do have to take consideration that there are a lot of misconceptions as to how long certain things can be made. The reality is that a die can only be pressed and injected so many number of times before the actual detail starts to lose cohesion,
that's
right?
right.
Because every single time you heat that die, it literally loses, like the corners get a little bit softer, 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 and you'll notice that actually because there are KO companies, knockoff companies, who actually bought molds after the fact and
Yeah,
actually reuse them to the point where they're completely unusable. This happens a lot with Transformers because there are a lot of second generation, third generation KO knockoff companies that have actually literally killed the mold. And in a lot of cases, you'll actually see imperfections start happening in even in production models. If you get to like the third stage of where they're actually pressing that mold, you can actually see like imperfections start to form on certain
yeah.
parts of the plastic. So yeah, you can only use a mold so many times before it breaks. Aaron Hardy says, yeah, even Robot Kingdom sold out of Serpentor. Yeah, it's he's a very incredibly popular character, obviously, and of course because he was a exclusive, it was even harder to make.
Yeah.
Carlos Caceres aren't sorry if I mispronounced that, my friend. Aren't made to order products aren't made to order pre-orders and crowdfunding almost the same thing. The tooling is made after the money is
Goes.
collected and turnaround time is about the same. Oz, what are you about to say something?
So made to order versus crowdfunding. Crowdfunding, they don't always have the mold made yet. They don't have the tooling done yet. They may have 3D models, 3D renders, but they really don't have the full tooling yet. That is typically how it is done in a lot of these. You might get like a master of some kind, but it's not like completely tooled yet. That money has not been fully spent. Whereas with a made to order, something like Wondar or Grizzlor, these things are already made. They are at the production line. And what's going on specifically with those two and why it's going to take so long before we can see any of those come out, and even why we're not going to see Eternia for quite a while after backing it, is because they have a production schedule to keep up at their factories. Okay. And anytime they want to add something into a production schedule, they either have to push certain things back or wait until there's a gap in that production lineup where they can make another run of, again, in this case, Grizzlor and Wondar that will be coming back again for those who went during the made to order period. So it's a little bit of a different procedure with these.
And that's the beautiful thing about pre-ordering. The fact that, you know what, if there's enough demand, the company can actually reconsider and say, hey, you know what, so many people seem to want this. Why don't we just do another run of these? Because you know what,
That is a good point.
the molds aren't completely dead yet. So you know what, that's huge. The other thing we have to take in consideration is companies as large as Mattel, they don't just use one factory. So they'll actually create 3 or 4 different molds, so that companies can have 2 different schedules to actually print them out. That's their usual MO, right? Their modus operandi.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that's actually the case for crowdsourced projects. I'm wondering if they really only make 2 molds, a master mold and a backup, just in case.
Right.
And because a minimum quantity order of 5,000, if that's the only thing they need, yeah, I don't think making 4 molds for 2 different plants would
Yeah.
make sense.
No, it does, especially because, like, those things are so huge and so heavy, and you got to figure, like, the ones to make Eternia are like so much more massive than
Massive, just massive.
other ones that we've seen. I mean, that's nuts.
Any playset is a massive mold. Like
Yeah.
even the current Netflix Grayskull. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely head over to pardon me. Definitely head over to Geek Dad Life's channel and take a look at the review. It's huge, and according to a friend of the channel, Collecting Classics, it weighs 14 pounds.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was not expecting it to weigh 14 pounds.
For a
Um,
toy, no.
yeah, that's just, to me that's just like bonkers. I
Yeah.
can hardly believe that it weighs 14 freaking pounds. Um, I'm just double checking on that because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. Yeah, no, sorry. 13 pounds, 12.97 pounds for
Right.
Netflix. That's huge. That's a heavy place. That's a
Heavy
heavy
for
playset.
sure.
But look what it does. I mean, it has
Oh
light,
yeah.
sound. It has a jaw bridge which actually slowly retracts and then shoots out. So many different things on that playset, and it's only $100, right? Compare
Right.
that to the $80 Castle Grayskull from Origins. Wow, like holy crap!
Yeah.
You get so much more with the Netflix version. It's crazy.
Right. I mean, we're all excited. We were all excited about Origins Grayskull because it was so close to the original, and that full nostalgia factor was there. All those play features that we remembered. But the CGI Grayskull is really exciting because it brings all new stuff to the table. And I mean, some stuff may be similar with like the 2000X as far as like the electronics go in there, but it's done in a completely different way. And all the little other extra features that it supports too. It's really nice. I mean, I know a lot of people at first, I mean, especially myself, even when they first showed this thing, I was kind of like, I don't know. But it was still very, very early on in the process. And now, after seeing the full thing fully together, uh, I'm all in on that thing. That thing looks outstanding.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I'm looking forward to grabbing it. I'm not sure if it's going to come to Canada, but if anybody's interested, it is available on Amazon. So you just look up, Netflix Castle Grayskull. You should be able to find it. And again, it's only $100 plus tax. Why wouldn't you? It's an amazing playset.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
Tima T. I'm you. Hey, what's going on, Timothy? Good to welcome to the live stream. What are crowdsourced figures? Whoa, you come to the right place. We're about to discuss that entire thing tonight. So, just as a quick overview, crowdsourced figures are projects like, for instance, the current Mattel Origins or MattelCreations.com. Eternia from the Master Universe Origins playset, which is being crowdsourced, meaning that we as consumers are the ones who determine whether or not it's created or if it's not going to get created. If there are 5,000 people who back the project by the end of the timeline, meaning November 12th, I believe it is, Oz, if I'm not
Nice.
mistaken. November 9th. Okay, so November 9th, if everyone backs, if at least 5,000 people back the project by November 9th, the project will go forward and all of these playsets will be produced. If it does not reach its 5,000 backer goal, it will not be produced, and we won't be able to see Eternia again until, unless you're willing to buy one on the secondary market for a
Yeah.
vintage version, which costs anywhere upwards of $1,000 all the way up to $3,000, which is insane, and that's Canadian, and that's American.
Yeah,
That's
that's
American,
American.
which is ridiculous. Oh my god! So, Tima, I hope that helps you out. Nolan says, "Hey, Oz."
Hey, what's going on, Nolan? Good to see you.
Michael Chapman, MJR, did you back the crowdfunding Eternia? I'm one of those guys who's a fence sitter until the very last day when I get my bonuses. So, I'm really waiting for the end of this for the end of this thing. And I think a lot of people are doing the exact same thing, because we're going to see that today when we take a look at Eternia as well. But for me, it's just about it really is about funding. Like, I just don't have the money, and there are a lot of things which we have to discuss today, which are very important for people to realize that's actually happening. So not yet. Helium Dread, what's going on? Really think hard on Eternia. If I get it tomorrow, I'm gonna have to pay almost $700 for it, $657. Then I'm gonna have to make that money trying to sell the other stuff. Wow, that's crazy, Helium Dread. Don't put yourself in any dire straits. That's not what
Right.
crowdsourcing is supposed to be about. Seriously, take care of yourself first. Armando, Jay, got 3 Eternias, one to keep, one to open, one just in case. Dude, you're speaking my language, but wow.
Armando.
Just wow. Armando,
Wow.
you're a boss. 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 3 times. James Sadapio, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. How goes the adventure? Well, now that you're here, brother. Renegade Biker, what's going on, brother? Rodimus Prime. Rodimus Prime in 1982. Hey, Jay, I'm passing on Eternia. Too rich for my blood, dudes. I'm all in, though, for that Snake Mountain playset. I have my Megatron His Tank and my classified Crimson Twins. Congratulations, brother. And again, it's not for everybody. The price tag is just massive. It's just crazy. Toy Bounty Hunter, I do wish pre-ordering from Hasbro or even BBTS had more options. For example, I have it like it is now. Nothing down upfront, pay when it arrives, but also give the option to pay for upfront or pay over time. So, we're going to get back to that. I'm going to start that right now, Toy Bounty Hunter. But BBTS is very unique in that sense. They're taking a lot of risk by not asking you to pay up front, and it builds trust. It builds a lot of trust. But how many people actually have second thoughts after half a year and then say, you know what, I'm just going to cancel this? They're stuck holding on to that product that they ordered for you. You know what I mean? And
That's right.
it can be rough. It can be really rough. Boss, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is a huge risk because, Big Bad Toy Store, they're not a huge, massive retail like Walmart or Target. They don't have all the space to shuffle around and sit on product that does not sell. Whereas Walmart, they'll ship it. I just saw a Wave 1 Skeletor back on a shelf at Walmart yesterday. So, they've got room for product to just kind of sit. Big Bad Toy Store does not have that luxury. If they are getting units in, they want those units to move because they've got other product coming in right behind it that's going to go where that product was sitting today.
Yeah, and that is exactly the problem, right? Because in terms of their warehouse allocation, I can't imagine they have a bigger warehouse than Walmart. I mean, that's just ludicrous.
Not even
right?
close.
So they literally are sitting on that product for however long. It is. And if you cancel that, just like a half a year in because you're impatient or whatever, right? Because everybody else is getting their stuff, and Big Bad Toy Store tends to be one of the last guys to get their stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
it hurts them in the pocket. You know what I mean? And you'll notice that if you look on Big Bad Toy Store long enough, you'll find that they're clear. They have clearance sales all the time. Like
Yep.
you just have to take a look, and it really is just that crazy thing that happens over and over again.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Anybody else we haven't said hi to? Jermaine Hunter says, I wouldn't even buy him without the air chariot. Well, there you go, Jermaine. I
Yeah.
totally get
Yeah.
this.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah, it's that air chariot is a piece of his identity, right?
Yeah.
Um, you could argue that if you get him a throne, maybe that could replace his air chariot, but it's hard to
Cool.
say, right? It really is hard to say.
Yeah.
Toys paint sample, good to know if I can score them on the cheap. Got 2 on clearance. I guess you guys are talking about the twins. I think I read that earlier.
Oh, cool.
All right. Zom 2010. People keep crowdfunding super high prices, and toy prices will continue to skyrocket at retail. Mattel and Hasbro should only care about their pockets, not yours. You know what? I'm not going to deny that Mattel and Hasbro are only interested in profit. That's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
that's true. But Zom 2010, I think it's premature. Sorry, I think it's not exactly correct to say that just because we fund something at a high price tag, it's going to increase the price of other toys. Traditionally, that's not something that really works. The idea of what ceiling that consumers are willing to tolerate is usually tested in the market, right? And that's
Yeah.
exactly what's happening now, right?
Yeah.
Right now they are increasing the prices without the increase on the prices right now happened without these crowdsourced projects. That's not that they didn't come out of nowhere, right? They didn't they didn't just plop down Eternia and said, okay, we're going to raise all the Master Universe another $5. They did that before.
Yeah.
They were $13.99. I think they were $12.99 in stores in the US. Last year, right?
$14.99.
Yeah, $14.99. Okay, fine. And then you know what? Earlier this year, they raised to $18.99, right? If I'm not mistaken. And that was well before
right now.
Yeah, that was well before Eternia, right?
Yeah.
Eternia's success will not necessarily dictate what happens to the toy market. It might have a bit of influence, but I don't think it's going to have a massive influence, right?
Well, especially when you look at what we have going on as a perfect side-by-side comparison. Right now, Eternia is pacing to hit within the next week. No problem. Fully backed. And you have Ghost Rider, where people are saying that is way overpriced. And it's kind of stabilized now, so it might start gaining some more traction back at this point. But let's face it, Jay, you and I, we did the countdown. They were well over 6,000. And the moment they did not hit that early bird, that thing started tanking. And
It was
made a difference.
it was just crazy how where they are now. We're gonna take a peek as to how those 2 projects are doing. I'm just gonna finish off the rest of these. I'm just gonna quickly go through everybody's comments. So guys, I'm gonna have to start skipping now because there are a lot of people in the chat right now. So James, Pain's Toys Apple would also like a trench coat suited body for Destro. Always hated the disco neckline. Very funny.
Okay.
Batman 1. There's a reason why toy companies go to country to set up production to find cheaper ways to get you the plastic crack and affordable at some price point. That is a very good point. What's at a certain cost here in North America is a different cost in South America and is a different cost in Europe. I mean, this is just known, right? If they were to put the same cost here as they did in Mexico, I don't think a lot of people will be buying toys in Mexico. I'll tell you that much right now. It's a very, very good point, Max. Batman 1. Max, hi Jay, thanks for the info. Totally did not realize about the details of the world. That's it's not common knowledge. It's not. I mean, people don't understand the way. And I'm not going to profess to be an expert. I'm not going to say that. I just understand the idea of what's it called? Economies of scale. I understand that idea. Aaron, made to order is when they know it'll sell. Crowdfunding is when they don't want to take a chance. That's a very spacious way of saying it, but as a condensed way of explaining it, yeah, I'll be okay with that. Sure, no problem. Thanks, Aaron. Zom, a fool and his money are soon parted. Well, then you know what? We're all fools then, aren't we? Gwildor, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Gwildor. Good to see you. Let's see. Everybody's saying hi. Michael, the Hasbro Ghost Rider car, I'm sure won't get funded as they're asking too much from backers for the funding. You know what, Michael? Never say never, but it sure does seem like it's in the downward trajectory right now. Jay Serapio, 13 pounds for Grayskull. Good. Kids should all learn how to lift when they're young. Haha, very funny. Rodimus Prime. Got a 40th anniversary He-Man. Congratulations. At one at Target in a banged up box is my figure to open and arrived the other day for BBTS. It's hanging out on my wall. What? Oh, the 40th anniversary, just a single. Okay, cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, single card, not 2-pack. Okay.
Congratulations. That's excellent.
I was going to say,
keep that in mind. I gotta keep that in mind, Oz. Yeah, we gotta keep that in mind. That happens a lot. Let's see here. Elbow cough. Bought my second GIJM. What? What's a GIJM? GI Joe? Bought my second. Okay, I'm gonna say GI Joe. That's awesome, Aldo Tiga. I didn't. If you're getting into it now, Zoran the Barbarian. Hey, Zoran, what's going on? Hey, Jay, good to see you, my friend. By the way, I backed the his tank, dude. Wait a second. That was months ago. How did you? What? I'm so confused. What do you mean? Congratulations if you did. That's awesome. How the hell did you do that?
I'm hoping he means while it was still available, because otherwise that's some bad news for you.
Zoran has an interesting idea. Like, he keeps asking the questions in the live streams and then says he didn't and then he did. I'm so confused. There it is. Okay, you bought your second G.I. Joe figure, Spirit. Congratulations, all that.
Oh, nice. That's a awesome. Good one too.
Yeah, that is a good one. All right, Master Versal Toy Hunter. Yeah, I'm missing out on Eternia. I'll be getting 2 Snake Mountains to add as part of the one set and such. Excellent. Congratulations, my friend. Healing Dread. It just really sucks to don't have a payment plan like if they did with a pay half now, get charged on half on the release. To compromise, but Mattel just doesn't want to seem to do that. That is unfortunate. That is
very unfortunate. Crazy. I totally agree with that.
I think they would have a lot more backers by now if they did that.
Yeah, definitely.
Helium would be pro-consumer if they did. Yes, absolutely. Anybody else? Okay, Zom. 1497 went to 22. What does that mean? 14. Not
talking about price.
Oh, is that a period? Okay, $14.97 went to $22.97 at Walmart. They're going. Okay, so I'm thinking you're Canadian because that's the Canadian price right now, $22.97.
Yeah,
their gouging at retail would be very interesting once recession hits Canada. Okay, so Zom, that price is the same thing in the U.S. Like you do the conversion. It's like $18 in the U.S. right now. It's $22 in Canada. That's not gouging. That's whatever is happening in the market right now. So I know what you're trying to say, but it's not exactly correct. And I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just saying that we're just talking about facts here. Free agent figures. Hasbro Ghost Rider is at 5,128 right now. We will be double checking that soon, but that is a low number. I mean, Oz, you just said it was at plus 6,000 when we first talked about it once, and now, oh my God, 5,126. That's insane.
Yeah.
Huge. Hey, Princeton Toy Phalanx, good to see you, my friend. Jimmy K. Poindexter Jr. Esquire. ¿Cómo está Jay in the Mega Retro? Good to see you, brother. How are you doing, buddy? Anybody else? Old IT guy. As much as I would love payment plans for crowdsourcing projects, I understand why they don't, but technically that's what credit cards are for. Ooh, that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
That is a slippery slope, old IT guy. But yes, I know what you're saying. I know what you're trying to say, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But in terms of like people's ability to like spend money, yeah, that's rough. that is rough. Okay. Reynolds Prime. A few weeks ago, I attended a highly sought after Cosmos at Walmart late night. Someone stocked the shelves and with a fresh box. Congratulations, dude. They're only one per case right now, so that's great. President Phalanx, not getting Eternia too much, but we'll get Snake Mountain. That seems to be a lot of people's assertions right now. All I see, had to buy Spirit. I'm a native Canadian, absolutely. Not many native action figures. Well, you know what? Hopefully, Ramen Toys will fix that with the Brave Star. That's going to be awesome. All right, last one for Chuck Petty. Then we're going to check on a few things. Chuck Petty, we were kids. J.O. Joe's with $2.59 or $2.99. Now they're $25. The price at the price and changing times. This is true. But this is inflation, right? And as of late, inflation is going exponentially over the last year. So yeah, it's just scary, right? Frightening, completely frightening. Armando, BBTS has called Grayskull. Adam back up. Nice. Go get it, guys.
Very cool.
Nolan, old IT guy happens to the. It does happen to the best of us. Yes, it does. Um, absolutely. Yes. All right. So I'm gonna go back to these last questions, and then we're gonna check up on Eternia. All right. So Toy Bounty Letter says pre-orders have made collecting less stressful for me. I want a chance to get the figs, and I'm not getting that with retail brick and mortar. Ooh, that's an interesting comment. What do you say to
Yeah,
that, Oz?
yeah, that's definitely a big thing right now. The guaranteed order online versus spending weeks and weeks on end traveling from retailer to retailer to not come up with anything is actually just something I was talking about just yesterday. Went out yesterday, and for the first time in a long time, since January or February, found new Motu Origins on the shelf at my local stores. And I live in a very densely populated area. I live in Baltimore. So
Wow,
there is Walmarts and Targets everywhere. And you weren't finding anything other than, the mini comic Stratos.
that's
That
crazy.
was it.
That's crazy. Max S says, "Hi, I agree. However, we're talking about a global company. Yes, you are. You are. Again, we all understand that even though you have billions of dollars, one project can be the difference between profit and failure, right? So when you
Yeah,
look at it that way, investing in a mold which costs $500,000 is not something that everybody just wants to do. I mean, like no matter what, a half a million is a $500,000. That's
that's
pretty
right.
crazy. Kevin, I prefer pre-orders. Well, you know what? That's a lot of people seem to be echoing that sentiment. Carlos, Mattel Creations doesn't allow for cancellation pre-orders. It's in their terms and conditions. I hear you, Carlos, but even if that's in their terms and conditions, you can call them, and
Yes.
9 times out of 10 they will actually succeed, right? And if you really have to be persistent about it, you can call your credit card company. It's actually, if I'm not mistaken, in certain countries in certain states, it's actually illegal to if you don't have the product in hand, they actually cannot deny you a cancellation. I believe that's actually in the terms of service of Visa. If you do not have the product in hand, then you cannot legally hold on to that money. Again, you have to check your individual state to make sure, but I believe that you have precedent against that. So yeah, so Carlos, look that up if it's something you're concerned about. Aaron, actually, well, Oz, what like, do you know anything particular about that, or can you comment on that?
Well, I know I've talked with many people who have canceled pre-orders through Mattel Creations, and all it took was a phone call.
Okay,
So even if it says online, they may not have a button to cancel that pre-order online. You may not be able to do it that way, but you can give them a call, talk to their customer service, and you can get that canceled. You can get that refunded. It's not the best, but they can do it for you.
hmm. So about Hunter says, I do wish that pre-ordering from Hasbro or even BBTS had more options. For example, I like it. I like, for example, have it like it is now. Put nothing down up front and pay when it arrives, but then give the option to pay up front or pay over time. Again, we've discussed this. I think we actually did answer this question. BBTS is taking a huge risk by doing that, like massive, right?
Yeah,
And of course, like retail, like manufacturers are not going to want to give you an option to just like not pay, because you could decide later on just not to buy it, right? I mean, again, we just talked about that with Visa, right? If you don't have the product in hand, you more than likely you're allowed to cancel it. So for them, it's a huge risk, just a massive, massive risk. Payne's Toy Sample. Hasbro will not leave money on the table. They will do a standard version of Mindbender and Serpentor. What are your thoughts on that, Oz?
I think it's a very good possibility. And they won't be the same versions. Again, like we had kind of discussed that already. They won't be the same versions that are available now. But yeah, I don't see them not reusing those molds and doing like different paint schemes. It's not like we had a singular, Dr. Mindbender and Serpentor in the original lineups. So we'll definitely see some variants, but I do believe this would be the only way to get Dr. Mindbender with all of those lab accessories.
Yeah,
And
I think so. I think that
you know,
I think he'll probably come with a gun and maybe
yeah,
one of the beakers. I think that's probably what's going to happen
something
with
like
that.
that.
Not everything that, like the severed hand, the cut off
Right.
the head. I don't think we're going to get
Yeah, the
it.
parts to make Serpentor.
Michael Chapman. I think maybe if and when they, I'm sure Mattel will probably crowdfund Slime Pit or Fright Zone when it happens. Ooh, that would be exciting, Oz.
I don't necessarily think those will be crowdfunded. I actually think we'll probably just get those at retail. Um, they were like mid-sized playsets, so I really don't see a point of them doing crowdfunding for it unless they're going to adapt them somehow, maybe combine them or do something along those lines, because they're changing the way those were at that point. But yeah, I certainly don't see them not putting those out. If they look to push Eternia out for a crowdfunding thing, I think we're going to be able to see Fright Zone and the Slime Pit at some point soon. Well, I say soon, and I'm saying, we've got like at least a 2-year window that Origins is probably going to be going for with everything they've been revealing.
I think it'll come down to how well Snake Mountain does, because
Yeah.
Castle Grayskull, the dismal distribution of that early on, because I think the excitement for Grayskull was right at the beginning, and because
Yes.
very little distribution was happening, it killed the overall excitement, and now we're sitting on Grayskulls till the cows come home. If Snake Mountain is actually successful and the launch and its distribution is done right, I think we could see a lot of them sold, and I think that would really encourage Mattel to push out another and really roll out a lot of new play sets going forward. That's
Right.
my personal opinion.
I agree.
Old IT guy. That's what I meant. Prepay for the order, then the long wait, the chance of it being canceled, better chance of my cousin paying me back the money he owes me than getting some of my pre-orders. Ha ha ha. Very interesting. But that's always the chance. And again, the risk is on their side too for Big Bad Toy Store. But
Yeah.
you have big box companies like Target who are literally just canceling orders left, right, and center. Terrible. Just
Walmart just did that big time too.
yeah, absolutely. Batfan 1, collectors need to get rid of the mindset from 10 to 15 years ago. Yes, I know, but it's hard, right? I mean, like when we were kids, we were paying, $2 a figure, $10 a figure. And you know what? That's what we're used to, right? Like now that if you're like a collector like me or Oz who've been, continuously looking at the market for the last 10 years, it's not a surprise. But if you're somebody
Not at
who
all.
literally just saw Master Universe on the shelf yesterday and said, shit, I had that as a kid, and you're like, dear God, $18, right? That's
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sticker
it's a
shock.
shock.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I
that happened.
still have somewhere in one of my boxes, I still have a sealed Tila from a Kmart retailer down here. And it says that, she cost $3. The sticker's still on the box. But, yeah, am I going to get $3? Am I going to pay $3 for Tila? No.
No. Not until it goes on clearance.
Yeah, even then, I'll be a little lucky if I can find it for 3. I
Absolutely.
think He-Man was the cheapest I found at clearance at like 4.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what went
Tina
on
Turner
today.
Barbie. Oh wait, no,
I know it's Tina
that's
Turner,
right.
the undisputed queen.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
All right, so let's have a look at where we're landing right now with Eternia. You weren't here, Oz, but myself and Ray, as well as Toy Connections, Ken, and Brian from TF Fan Page, we had a great time discussing this. And a lot of people on the like a lot it's been a lot of people's opinion, not a majority, but there are a lot of people saying that, and you know what, this is going to be interesting. There are a lot of people who are saying that Eternia will only make the 10,000 backers, and you know what, for myself I was kind of like, you got to be kidding me, we're only 4 days in, like, where is this
No,
concept coming from? What are your thoughts on that, Oz?
you know, talking about it a little bit earlier, I think that probably by next week we'll see at least that second tier hit, and by the end of this, by the that end date, November 9th, I think we'll be seeing over 10,000. I think it's got a really, if it keeps trending as it has been, I think we have a very good possibility of seeing that. As a matter of fact, I think the more people we see backing it, the more likely we'll see some numbers start to go up a little bit, because the the more you see that amount climb, the more you're guaranteed to get those extras like the moat creature and Keklar.
And you know what? On that note, let's take a look at where we stand right now with Eternia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think last time we discussed it, it was just over the 50% mark, and
Yep.
people were commenting to me that this is probably going to be a very big struggle to get to 5,000. I don't see that happening. I mean, if we were at 50%, just over 50%, closer to 60% on Wednesday, right? We're at Sunday right now, and we're already at 83% backed,
Yep.
4,164 backers. I really do see this happening in the next couple of days
Yeah.
because again, it's been slower than when it first, like the first day was ridiculous, right?
Oh
Was
yeah.
the first day was like it hit 50% pretty much that same day, right? That
Yep.
was just insane. And I think by the end of the 24 hours, it was already at 60%, right?
Yeah.
Now between then and now, it's gone up 23%. Now that might seem like it's slowed down considerably, but when you think about it, you know, what's it called? Crowdsource projects in the past, it's taken them the full month to get their full funding. You know what I mean?
That's right.
There have been multiple examples of that. So the fact that this is happening in the first week, I have no doubt that this is definitely going to hit its 5,000 mark. And then you know what? They have another 20 days after that to make up the extra
Another
5,000,
5,000.
right? So and we know, right? If anybody's been following crowdsource projects in the past, we know that the last week of crowdsourcing, people just go lose their minds, right?
That's right.
Right. The fear of missing out is strong. It's very, very strong. Um, but you know what? Let's talk about the deterrence in this scenario. I mean, uh, it's a huge price tag. I mean, look at the number here, Canadian, $1,070. That is massive. That is
Yeah.
massive. And the US price is nothing to sneeze at either. I mean, like let's,
No.
all things being equal, the US price is definitely nothing to laugh about. $550 US, add shipping, add taxes. You're looking anywhere between $650 to $680 depending on your state.
Yeah. You might
That's,
as well just round it up to $700
you know
in
what, just to be
taxes.
safe, yeah, sure, $700. Like it's crazy. It is crazy. Um, that's the biggest thing. What are some of the other factors that really prevent people from really jumping in right now? Because I've sort of mentioned a few of them. What do you think, Oz?
Well, of course, you got space danger. You, you can want to back this thing all you want. Where are you going to put it when you get it in the door?
That is a big problem.
I mean, this thing's almost guaranteed not to fit through the door.
Yeah.
So, you've really got to look at where are you going to put this thing? And this is something, again, most people who crowdsource stuff or have experienced it before know that there is a certain amount of wait time after it backs before you're going to receive your product.
That's true.
And they've already said this thing won't be coming until 2024. So that's a long wait for money that you're putting up now. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah. Keep
it's
going.
a
Keep
little
going.
better than some companies where, at least they have more of a defined date. Like you're going to back this thing and it's going to be coming 2024. It's in their production lineup. They're going to be producing these units sometime during 2023 to have them out ready to go by 2024. We know that.
Absolutely. And we do have to talk about the fact that there is no payment plan, right? I think
Yes.
that's a huge deterrent. I think that if they had a partner, if they were able to make something work with like Partly or what's it called, ship. I can't remember the other ones, but there are multiple what's it called, partners that they could have partnered up with to get this as a partial payment plan. They could have easily
Yeah.
done it, and because they didn't, I think a lot of people are on the fence basically because they do not want to part with $550 at the end of like in one
No.
shot. I think that's the biggest concern. And it's Christmas time, right? Right. Forget Christmas. It's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is happening in like what a month, right?
Yeah.
For Americans, right?
Yeah.
So that's a huge thing. Like Black Friday, getting all those televisions and everything on clearance. I think people are really expecting to be able to do that in terms of like shopping for Christmas. There are a lot of things, and I'm not going to say it's a terrible idea. I mean, some people want to put this under the tree, You know what I mean? Or at least a gift card or whatever the heck it is, I suppose.
Put a nice
But
big picture of it under the tree.
yeah, exactly. A huge picture. Congratulations, you just got yourself a Eternia. There is that. But you know what? It no matter what, at the end of the day, it really is a scary proposition to actually, lose that much money in one freaking shot. But
Absolutely.
I think we can. I think we can rest easy. Not rest easy. Sorry, it's never an easy rest. I
No.
shouldn't have said that. But I think we can sort of expect, or at least hope, that this might be or should be backed. At least that's the concept, right? Because as I said, it's looking well on its way. At least here's the thing. At least it's climbing.
That's right. It's been
All right.
steadily increasing. We haven't actually seen this at any point drop. So, that's always a good thing when you see the forward momentum, forward direction of the product.
Because if we look at another project, this is where things unfortunately have the complete opposite of what's been happening. This one's on a this one is on an increasing scale, whereas this
Yeah.
one is oh, Oz. This one is going in
Oh,
the completely opposite direction. If we take a look at okay, so earlier today, when we were doing the countdown, you mentioned that it hit uh, plus 6,000, right?
yep.
When we were doing the countdown, to Robbie Reyes, right? To Robbie Reyes, the
Yeah.
countdown to Robbie
Yeah.
Reyes. Since then, it's been on a very, very slow, I'm talking super slow trajectory downward. So much to the point that we are now currently sitting at hitting refresh 5,126 backers. Holy crap.
Oof.
Man, that is a huge ouchie. Oh, that
Yeah.
just hurts. That
Yeah.
hurts me inside.
Oh,
Um, that's just crazy. You know what? Let's let me do a quick well, first of all, Oz, what are your thoughts on its overall trajectory down? Like what has contributed to what do you let's just go out there, let's go on a limb. What has contributed to this to this downward trajectory? What are your thoughts on it?
well, of course, we also, we both saw that immediately after they didn't meet that stretch goal for Robbie Reyes, that people were already backing out. They're like automatically at this point, without knowing anything else about the project other than Mephisto is coming at some point, we're losing one character, which is a $25 value. So that's a pretty decent chunk of change when you're talking about a $350 product. So people started jumping ship immediately. Now, we had talked about Hasbro trying to pivot to save this. And they did try to do that pivot by still guaranteeing us Robbie Reyes, not as a whole figure, but giving us a head sculpt, giving us a little hood to put around the jacket to make that figure. Unfortunately, that's not enough to save the fans. Then we finally get further into this and they're like, okay, we want to pivot again. We're going to reveal you've got Mephisto coming out at 12,000 backers. Cool. Yeah. A lot of people are in. A lot of people want that character. They claim they can't sell him at retail for certain reasons and stuff like that. And I get that. So, yeah, that definitely tried to, again, help stop the bleeding from this project. But then they kind of took a step back. I mean, I even said that, Goblin Queen Madeline Pryor would be a neat bonus for this because it's something you don't really see put at retail. They finally reveal, yes, she was one of these guaranteed, or rather, these stretch goals that if we hit, we're going to put this figure out.
Yeah,
But
this is rather concerning. Even offering a much sought after figure like Madeline Pryor did not work, right? I'd like to joke about it a lot. It's really unfortunate. It's really shocking when you throw up boobs to a bunch of
right,
comic book collectors and nothing happens. Like nobody even moves. Like it
yeah,
was crazy. Like, and that's a joke. Okay, that is a joke. But seriously, she is a much sought after figure. Now, my take on that is, what is she doing in a crowdsource project for Ghost Rider? She's not a Ghost Rider character. She is a Marvel character. She's an X-Men character.
right,
What the heck was she even doing here? Like, to me, it was just the wrong message to send.
right. Now she fits in with the demonic theme that they went over because her powers are partially based within the demonic realm. So I get them again trying to lump it in, doing a demonic theme, but we had discussed several times across several different shows, and many other shows even covered what they thought would be a good pairing with this project. And she came up a couple times, but there were so many other characters that really I think could have helped push this a little bit further along than putting in this demonic X-Men character.
It's to me, it still didn't make it's just well, you're trying to bring in X-Men fans to try and back this project. No X-Men fan is going to back this on one character. If you
No.
start talking about bringing in Mr. Sinister, like a very unique version of Mr. Sinister, for example, but there are like 4 different Mr. Sinisters right now if you combine the ones that are from Toy Biz and the ones that are from Marvel Legends, right?
Right.
There are what other demonic characters you can bring in? The Brood, I guess, if you want to, but they're aliens, right? I mean, like there's just like what are you gonna do, right? There's just so many things there that are not really going correct with this. And speaking of pivoting, there was an interview done at the New York Comic Con, and the HasLab team actually did admit, the Marvel HasLab team actually did admit they are pivoting, right? I'm wondering though if it's going to be a point now where they're actually going to unveil the entire stretch goals, because to me that's at this stage it's really, really important to do that. They're 15 days down. They don't have much more time. What are your thoughts on that, Oz?
You got 2 weeks left. You need a Hail Mary pass. I mean, it's football season, so I'm going to go ahead and just break out the analogy. You need a Hail Mary to hit that game-winning touchdown at this point, because that is not a lot of time.
Absolutely.
To pull those in. Hey, look, there we are.
Yeah, this is us actually doing our live stream for the countdown. And Oz, you nailed it on the head. I just wanted to double check on this. At the peak, the very peak of this project, 6,056 backers. Holy crap! If we actually take that number and do some quick math, 656. Let's see here, 656 minus what's the number we're at right now, Oz?
Was that?
We're at 5,128.
Yeah,
5,128. Oh my God, they've lost 928 backers.
Almost 1,000 backers, and what's it been, like 3 weeks?
Yeah. They're close to losing a 1K. They're very, very close to the 1K mark in losses right now. That is crazy. And you know what? Just by the 926 right now, if we multiply that by 349 by 350, holy crap! Let's get ready for this. They've lost $324,800.
Ooh.
They've lost $324,000, well over $250,000. Well over $250,000 they've lost. Oh my God! They have to stop the bleeding. They have to, and they tried. They've tried to stop the bleeding. But you know what? I think the biggest factor in this is the price. I think the price is just astronomical. A lot of people are just saying that it's not the right. We could talk about the fact that Robbie Reyes is not, the Ghost Rider for 50th anniversary. We could talk about that. We can talk about so many other factors. But I really do think that for a car and a figure, just as a base product, I really do think the 349 is way too much that people are asking for. Right, and I think that people were expecting a lot more for 349. Again, companies can charge whatever they want, right? Companies can charge whatever they want, but when you look at value, right, and I think my biggest problem, my biggest concern here is this a dream project though, Oz? Is this a project that everyone wanted, right? I think that because that's what Hasbro Pulse is supposed to be about. Right? Hasbro Pulse is supposed to be about dream projects, right? HasLab is supposed to be about dream projects.
Yeah, and I think that's where they fell a little short. Is this some people's dream? I'm sure it is, because I'm not one to stamp on anybody's dream. So I'm not going to say that this isn't somebody's.
Absolutely.
Is it the majority's? I don't. Because even myself, being a Ghost Rider fan, this is not really what I wanted. Do I like Robbie Reyes? Sure, I think he's great. I think it's neat that they did switch him up to a car. It's something different. but people don't always like different. And when it comes to Ghost Rider, and we've said it, you're riding something. You're riding a motorcycle, you're riding a horse, or you're riding a mammoth. You're not driving a car.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's a really good one. A mammoth. I would love to see a mammoth. Yeah, no, for sure. And you know, it's I still stick to the idea that if they released if they released Danny Ketch, Johnny
Yeah.
Blaze, and either a mammoth or a freaking horse rider, I think that three that would be a trifecta
It'd
in this
be done.
project and easily have funded at the 350 mark. I don't even think they would have had to worry. I think it would have been. I think it would have been in the bag like
I
crazy.
gotta be honest. I don't understand where the $350 price tag could not include. Like, why not do a collection? Why not make, Johnny Blaze and his bike one of the stretch goals? Why not make Danny Ketch and his bike another one of the stretch goals? Like, I don't see where this 350 is all about this car and this Ghost Rider. I get it. It's got flames, it lights up, and then you could swap it out and but they didn't even pay licensing for an actual charger, Jay. Like, this is an unlicensed vehicle. Meanwhile, we've got fellow Canadian of yours, Todd McFarlane, over here putting out the Beast Mobile for $50.
I know.
It's
I know. I know. It's again. It's a difference of, and you know what's people, some have mentioned it in the chat. Maybe it's beholding to the shareholders. You know what I mean? That
yeah,
is
of
a
course.
concept, right? Because Todd doesn't have shareholders. He owns his company
Yep.
outright, right? So
Yep.
maybe he doesn't have shareholders. He has to answer to, right? I mean that
Exactly.
is something that's something of a big concern, right? But I think it's more telling that, as you said, this and here, and you know what? Let's be clear about this, guys. Let's be clear about it. If this is your Ghost Rider, back it. Okay. If
Sure.
this is the ultimate Ghost Rider for you, by all means, do what makes you feel good. Right. I've always maintained that. If this is the
Absolutely.
one that's been your dream project, go ahead, back it. I'm not gonna I'm not telling you to stop. Right. But it really is a question now. Does everybody want this guy? And right now, at least for the value that's being presented here at this stage, I don't think it is. You know,
No.
a whole bunch of blinking lights, gorgeous, beautiful looking card, wonderful sculpt, excellent design. But just looking at everything else that's been offered, and you know what, they've tried their best to try and explain to everybody that it's 2022, and the pricing for this is not what. Nobody's falling for that. Nobody's
No.
falling for that concept of no, not when and you know what, that's the strangest thing, you just said it. Not when Todd McFarlane is putting out a freaking gigantic Batmobeast, right? At $50. Nobody's
Yep.
falling for it. Like, seriously, you can try to make that argument all day long. If there was, and maybe if it was a real Dodge Charger, you might be able to say, hey, you know what, there was licensing concerns on this, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
honestly, it's a lot to ask. It's a big ask, for something which, a lot of people are just not seeing the value in. I think that's really what it is.
That's right. Now, I gotta say, if they had gotten official licensing for this car, I think then you would have seen other people back this that maybe not normally would not have if it were an actual charger. Because you've got those people who are fans of cars and they probably would have enjoyed it more. Do I think it would have been enough to really make a big dent in this? Probably not, because you can go get an officially licensed charger, probably from another car, toy company, model company, for significantly less. Because this is, again, you're paying for Ghost Rider and his charger with this.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's crazy. Um, and then we have to ask the question: could this project have been revealed outside of crowdsourcing? I think the answer is yes. I think this could have easily gone to market, and actually been something. I mean, look
yeah,
at, you know, this was like, Robbie Reyes was featured on Agents of Shield,
that's right.
right? And if he actually has a series coming, or if he's going to make a cameo in a movie, I think there's a good argument that this guy could have been on shelves, just like Batman from from the new Batman, um, film came out. His charger is basically the same, you know what I
Yeah,
mean, in shape and size and detail, and it's out in the retail. right?
Yeah,
You know, what are your thoughts on? What are your thoughts?
I agree. I don't think this had to be a crowdfunding project. This definitely could have been a retail project. It really could have, and they could have mass produced it. And again, if you're mass producing something, mass quantities of something to put at retail, that price does come down. Because you're expecting to sell more units. And again, like we were saying with Eternia and some other stuff, then if it does sit, there are some other issues there. Sure. Let's not shy away from those facts as well, because those are factors. But this is one of those things where I think this probably would have been better sold at retail for a lot less than that 350 price tag.
I tend to agree. Myself personally. And you know what? Let's find out what somebody else has to say about this, guys. Please welcome to the stream. And he's got something to show us. Collecting classics. What's going on, Ray? How are you doing today?
Hey now, hey now.
Right.
How are my guys doing? How are we doing, gentlemen?
What's going on, Ray? Looks like you. Wow, what do you got there? What's that? What's that thing? What's that thing you got?
Well, looks like we have that new Grayskull.
Can you full screen him, Ray or Jay? Just
Yeah, sure,
get
no
the full
Yeah,
scope
just
of
to
it,
see if
please?
we can get the whole scope of it. I don't know if this is gonna get in there, but guys, look at this,
Jesus, that's freaking huge.
Wow.
Oh my god,
dude! It
That
is
is
massive.
that is massive.
It is massive, and this is the version that's closed up. So when you open this up, it's a lot bigger. It's really heavy for what it is. We're used to seeing Grayskulls typically a little lighter. This sits right around 12.97 pounds. So for a play set, this thing is pretty serious.
That is
That thing is
really, really
ridiculously
awesome.
awesome. Oh my god,
I like this too.
That's great.
I love the suspense.
You got to watch out. That'll take your eye out, man. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's pretty serious. And when you put it together, you realize how serious it is, because all these pieces kind of click together to the point where you go, wow, this might not even come apart. So it's a pretty serious play set. I'm really stoked to have it join the collection. But yeah, what's up, guys? I just got done with my live, so I decided to pop over. I saw Jay's message, so
Sure.
Wow, that's amazing. It's even got ratchets on the job bridge. Eh? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah,
So-
really fun stuff.
That's amazing. Well, we're discussing the pros and cons of pre-orders versus crowdsourcing, and you know what? On that, we might as well try to get some ideas here for something else. So, you know what? Now that we've talked a lot, and I mean a lot about crowdsourcing, let's talk about the opposite side of the spectrum. And Ray has already discussed this with me earlier, but Ramen Toy, who's doing some crazy things, which are freaking amazing. Let's just be honest. They're bringing out action figures and play sets, which traditionally have been untouched in the adult collector market, modern adult collecting market, and they have not yet gone in the route of crowdsourcing. But what they have done is they're definitely looking at getting pre-orders. And and you know what? It's really interesting looking at the pre-order sets that they have currently. I mean, things like the most powerful stand in the universe. This is looking freaking amazing.
I love this.
What do you think, Oz? What have you seen these yet?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The day they were announced, before we even knew we were going to get variation, where it was just the red, I just thought this was like one of the coolest things in the world. I love the fact that it has that slide down backing for your card, because again, I save all my card backs. So, it's really nice that you can do that so you get the full regular look of the packaging. And then later they announced that, we were going to get the green and the purple, so you can kind of have Grayskull or Snake Mountain versions. I mean, I think it's great. And the price is not, it's fair. For what you're getting, it's fair.
The price is the one that really gets to me. I know Ray has some reservations about this. Ray, what were your thoughts when you first saw this?
I had already seen it prior, made by another company, Ray of Light Customs, which had made theirs earlier in the year. Ramen Toys made one similar to Ray of Light Customs, and it's just bigger to fit figures. I believe Ray of Light Customs is catering to the Funko Pop community, and Ramen Toys is catered to the Origin. So I think it's cool idea. I think they're both great ideas. But yeah, it's just another way to showcase your figures in today's market, and I think it's a cool welcome addition that'll probably do pretty well.
But this is the and the thing is that it comes on the heels of the 40th anniversary, so it's really good. The price point is exactly where you want it to be, and I think that that's going to help it move along. However, they're doing much riskier projects, and these are the things that really could make or break projects in general. Like, for example, this Machina project, which is something which a lot of fans have been asking for, clamoring for, just drooling over. But this really is a project where if nobody supports this project, it could fall flat. It literally could not, might not come to market. Because they might not be able to make enough of these, and that it might just end up being canceled. So what are your thoughts on this, guys? Like, seriously, this is
my only concern with this is that as a auto car collector, I'm recognizing that car as the IROC, the Camaro IROC. You know what I mean? And I just wonder if they're going to run into any licensing issues with likeness, or if they got it already, or how they're going about it. The back end looks sweet. The gold wing doors look amazing. The figure looks cool, but again, if they don't have backing for something like this, it's gonna be a sad miss, I'd say, because it's a cool piece.
Awesome.
Well, I think Mask is one of those more niche toy lines. So getting the Machina toys, to do that, is there enough of a fan base still around? It's been out of the media for several decades, so it's not a lot of new fans. This is strictly towards us, the older collector that remembers when these were on the shelves. I think it's an outstanding project, and I fully hope that it gets backed, pre-ordered enough of, because I'd like to see a comeback for Mask. I have a couple of friends who are fans of it. This was like their toy line, like mine was Motu when we were kids. So I'm really, really hoping that they do get a chance to experience this project. And of course, I've told all of them, hey, Ramen Toys is putting this out there, guys. He's trying to get you guys what you want. So, go show him some support and get these out here.
Yeah, even Matt. Even the figure that it comes with, he's completely articulated, which is a huge departure from the original Mask character, who was, I believe, it was 5 POA, if I'm not mistaken.
5 point.
Yeah. So,
but the articulation on those Silverhawks, like the one that you opened, Jay, I was really impressed, and I was actually blown away when they had the interchangeable wings on the Hawk. They've done a really good job, and they're really, it takes money to add every little joint. Every little piece of articulation is more money for tooling and molding and casting, design. So when you see a figure like that, you really have to take into consideration what they are trying to do and what they are putting into this project. So that's really important to consider as well upon buying something such as this.
So there's the key, money, right?
Yeah.
To back this project, it's $170 USD, and they're not doing a crowdsource project. This is a pre-order, very similar in scope to Super 7, right? So and a lot of people are wondering about this. There actually is a cancellation fee if you don't go forward with it. Having said that, $170 for this vehicle with a figure. What do you guys think? Because we are looking at Rob Ray's at $349.99.
Oh, he did it again to me, Jay. You keep popping up that screen, and I just can't take it.
Don't have a heart attack.
Just in price contrast alone, I think that's a better deal. Naturally, it's about half less. Again, like what Oz said, it is catering to a more niche audience. Mask has a big following in its own right, but again, a lot less than let's say Marvel or Motu. So it is a push, and I think the price point is right where it needs to be for something like that, especially for what's gone into the project to make that come to fruition.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, again, the niche collector who is looking for something like this, that $170 is that's going to be a fair price. Again, it's the difference between how you feel where your value is,
Yeah.
There's also the discussion that and I hate to I really don't want to putting this under the bus, but unfortunately it's the only thing we have to compare it to. Here you have replaceable wheels, fire effects, a replaceable engine, and LEDs all over the place. But here, if you look at it, it starts off as a regular IROC, right? If we're going to go ahead and say it that way, it comes off as a regular IROC, like the side skirts, everything about it, very simple car. But then as soon as you hit one button, the wings expand, you get laser turrets on the side, right? The what's it called? The bumper transforms into an engine bay. It extends. The spoiler comes up, becomes an aileron, right? They're not showing it in these prototypes, but the undercarriage actually showcases the two missiles which are underneath the
cool.
the vehicle as well.
Nice.
The interior has
wow, look at that.
Right? And there's just so much more to the overall aspect of this. When you look at the value on, like, technically it transforms, right? Let's just on one push of a button, it transforms, right? And then you look, you go back to this, and it's got LEDs, it's got, it's from the ground up, it's a brand new car, all that kind of stuff. It really does make the question, what is your equation of value? And I think that's really the Oz made a really good point. What do you see as value, between these two?
I'm more likely to back something that at the push of a button transforms versus swapping out, all those individual parts on the Robbie Reyes car for the two different looks.
Did you say at the push of a button transforms?
One push of a button. This one you push this little button here, and everything
right.
Everything
folds out. It does that transformation at that point.
Yeah.
Whereas for the Robbie Reyes car,
you guys keep talking.
Yeah, for the Robbie Reyes car, I've got to swap all those wheels out myself. Got to swap the engine. I know it's not a lot, but
what happens when that light bulb goes out?
Yeah.
That's a good question. No, that's a really good question. That is a really good question.
What happens if you get a QC issue? What happens if you get a QC issue and those lights don't work?
Yeah.
That is
at that point, I think they would just completely replace your project. But let's face it, the likelihood that 5-6 years from now, one of those LED bulbs is going to go out. And unless you're into that sort of thing, you're not going to know where to take it apart to replace those bulbs. So, I mean, that's another issue. And here's another thing that I think about. Do I think it's really cool that you can get those two distinct looks on the car? Yes. How many people are really going to display it without the flames?
Now, again, I'm not knocking the project. I think the car's cool. I think the accessories are cool. I think the figures are cool. I think the price sucks. I think for what it is, again, we have to determine what we value or what we're putting value on. I think that they're taxing us for that license. I think they're taxing us because they got overzealous over the past success of their projects, especially coming off the heels of Hiss. I think it's just too much too soon, and HasLab has a tendency to do that. And when coming into a market again, that McFarlane Batman monster truck, I went looking for one today. It's not out yet, but I saw the monster truck in which it's based off of, and it's huge. And for the value of $50 to get a 7-inch figure and a monster truck, compared to 350 with some broken lights, Fast and the Furious wannabe showcase, and some ugly figures that just are not boobs, then we have to really consider what is going on with these companies, especially like HasLab. And when you have competitors such as Ramen Toys, such as Eternia on the market, you really have to begin to wonder where's the smartest place to put your money today.
Right.
Exactly. Here's a demonstration. So it's not just one click. I guess I was wrong, but here, take a look at this, guys. So one click will open up the gull wings. You can, if you saw that, you can extend the rear by just pulling on the
Look at how cool that is.
Right? Again, it's still a lot faster than swapping out 4 individual wheels.
And then the missiles can the torpedoes or missiles can just drop at a push. Again, all at the push of a button, right?
Yeah. Again, there's a lot more engineering involved to get that to happen versus, you know, the same almost kind of modulation that an Origins figure has, where you can just pop the pieces off, pop the new ones on. You know, this has actual full mechanical engineering to make those bombs drop when you push the button and the bay door opens. When you push that button on the back of it so the wings spring out. You know, there's mechanical engineering involved.
Yeah, that's a cool piece. It's really well made as far as design goes. It looks really fun because it's interactive. It gives you options.
Yep.
And with the Ghost Rider car, it looks, honestly, if they promoted it as a statue, that might have done a lot better. But given the fact that it's supposed to compete with a toy that's meant to be played with like this, I don't know. I'm going with the red gull wing all day.
Right.
Yeah, again, it's on what people perceive as value at the end of the day. And then so this is one of the, again, when we're talking about crowdsourcing versus pre-orders, this is definitely a pre-order. If it doesn't get enough of a minimum quantity order, I'm not sure if they're going to go forward with it or not. But this is an exciting project. They have others. If we go through them really quickly, you know, they've got the gull wing, they've got the antagonist cyborg, which was from Centurions, a very another niche, as Oswald put it, another niche type of cartoon, which has a loyal following, right? So they have the cyborgs, 9 drones. Of course, they had the officially licensed Silverhawks, which is freaking amazing, right? And these are still available for pre-order on RamenToy.com as well as Big Bad Toy Store. So, guys, if you're interested in Monstar, metallic painted versions of Quicksilver and Monstar, definitely head over there. $100 for Quicksilver and $120 for Monstar. Definitely head over there and support these projects as they are, because these are the types of things which really need support to actually get more additional products out into the market. They do look amazing. And on that note, some people are really into pre-orders because they know that they're guaranteed to get them, and they already know ahead of time what the price is going to be. And then we have to talk about companies like Super 7. These pictures come courtesy of news.toyarc.com. And then we got to talk about value for money again, because their latest wave of Thundercats includes these 3 figures: Rataro, Mongor, and Willa and Snarf. The 3 figures, 2 of them specifically, Mongor and Rataro, are big, beefy characters. They're actually a lot bigger than their average character. And now it appears as if they're using those 2 characters to justify charging a little bit more for Willa and Snarf, because each one of these characters is $55 a piece. Right. And one of the problems that a lot of people are coming to the conclusion is that, what is it you're getting for $55? I mean, if we just look at this picture alone, right? If we look at this picture alone, Rataro is a big, beefy character. We already know that. He's actually quite large, right?
Yeah.
Mongor is gigantic. I mean, he's got to be easily, if Rataro is a 7-inch figure, Mongor's got to be
He's like
closer
8.5.
to
Yeah.
inches. Yeah, with those horns, he's definitely up in the
Mhm.
8-inch frame, right? And they come with a host of accessories. I think Rotaro comes with the most. He comes with blast effects, 2 size, a pair of swappable hands, a swappable head.
Yep.
Mongor comes with a gigantic scythe, flame effects on the scythe, uh, electricity effects, 4 swappable hands, and a swappable head. He's a Krampus character, 100%.
Yeah.
But then we come up to Willa, who's arguably a 6-inch figure, right? Comes with a host of hands. We're talking about like, holy crap, 1, 2, 3 sets of additional hands, a bow drawing hand, right? A swappable head, a little tiny spider creature, a quiver, 2 arrows, and a bow. But she's quite short compared to the rest of them. And then the real elephant in the room is
This
Snarf.
is Jay's favorite, by the way. He talked on and on the other night and how he was going to army build this one specifically.
You got to be kidding me.
Ah,
Seriously, what is going on with Snarf? I mean, I get it. He is a mainline Thundercat. Like you really have to have Snarf. I mean, let's be honest. You have to have him. He is the originally he was like the 6th Thundercat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Originally,
but no teddy bear is a deal breaker.
That's the thing, right? Like when you're choosing the accessories, this is supposed to be the Thundercats Ultimates, right? And in my opinion, I have 5 claw shields. I have 3 short dagger swords of omens. I don't need another 2 of those, right?
Right.
What happened? What happened to the bucket? You know what I mean? The bucket that defeated Safari Joe. What happened to the bucket? And if we're going to really deep cut into this, where is the freaking teddy bear? Where is Lionel's teddy bear? Like, those are deep cut items and only 1 piece of candy fruit? You've got to be kidding me.
Right.
There should be 12 pieces of candy fruit in this. I mean, seriously, he should have hands that specifically hold on to candy fruit. I think that
double fisting candy
right?
fruit.
I mean, seriously, he should have a chef's hat. He should have an apron. Like these are the deep cut items that you need for Snarf. From 2 head sculpts, I see where they're trying to get value in this. I get it. I know what Super 7's trying to do, but in my opinion, I think they missed the mark here, right? In terms of like value, right? And like I said, knowing me, I'm an idiot. I'm probably going to buy these more than likely, right? Because I need Snarf. I need him. But in terms of value, I'm not going to shy away from the idea that this is not good value.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? And what I'm thinking is happening here is they're expecting everybody to buy this wave, and they're sort of saying, well, you get these 2 for 55, where this guy is just about the size of Mumra, so he should be 65, right? Like he should be 65, almost 70, and so should Rotaro. So we're gonna transfer those costs onto these 2, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that's what the thought process is here. But is that right? Right? Is that the right move? Is that what they should be doing? Guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Like, I know what my thoughts are, but
it's like splitting the pot, right? That's exactly what it is. It's splitting the pot. So I'm going to give you 2 big figures that are worth the value, and then some that maybe not, just because I need to move those somehow. And if I don't combine them with something big and hefty like this, what's the incentive on buying the set? They might be a couple of lame ducks compared to these 2, the big hefty figures. But I think we talked about this, and I think sometimes we forget it when we get stormed up in these conversations. If you're a fan, you're going to buy what you want. You're going to buy what makes you happy. You're going to buy what fits in the collection. If this doesn't make sense to you, if this is a price point that just says, hey, I can't do this, I don't like it, I don't feel this is okay, don't buy it. You don't have to. Right. Nobody's telling you that you have to. So take that into consideration with every purchase you make, and don't feel like you got to get suckered in unless you're buying a whole set or like a case like we have to with Motu. I've been buying my figures by the case. So I really don't have a choice when I'm buying a whole case. I don't know if that's the option for Thundercats or if they're just individual. But if you are case buying, that might be the way to go, because you are able to save a little bit when you buy all 4.
Awesome.
Well, for me, one of my big things about this wave is, I like Super 7, and I think that, yes, they are expensive. The tooling is definitely there, but this is the least amount of hands I have seen on a Super 7 wave in a long time. Willa's got hands, but no, like everybody else is a little subpar with the hand selection. And that's like the trademark of Super 7. We're going to give you one figure with 30 sets of hands and charge you $55. So I'm a little shocked overall that there's not a lot of hands. But like, I really feel like if they wanted to do a balancing act with Snarf, a 2-pack probably would have been more appropriate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Something along that line. Pack Snarf in with Ghost Jaga. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been because Mumra comes with Mamat. You know what I mean? Mumra comes with Mamat. Or you know what? I'll do you one better though. Oz, pack Snarf with Snarfer.
There, you know what? Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
that would have been great. I think that would have been perfect.
Yeah, I think that. And you know what? But for me, I probably could forgive this. I'm not going to lie. I probably could forgive this because again, I'm an idiot, right? I probably could forgive this. But where's the freaking bucket? Where's the freaking teddy bear? Where's the freaking apron? The hat? Like where are the things
The fruit candy, the extra hands. I mean, come on, Super 7. What the hell's going on?
Where are the things which make Snarf, right? The claw shield is not Snarf. It's not what he is. The Sword of Omens, no matter, even if he carried it in his mouth a number of times, and his tail. Oh, that's the other thing. If you're gonna do the Sword of Omens, have him carry have it being carried in the tail. It was actually carried in his tail more than it was in his mouth.
That's right.
There are certain things about the character which need to be identified on that. Here's the problem, though. We're getting sidetracked on this, though. Because this is just me. But here's the reality. Let's get back to topic right now. The reality is that, and I think both you on Oz and Ray, you hit it on the head. With this, which is a pre-order, you can choose to not pick up Monstar. You can choose to not pick up Snarf, right?
Yeah.
You can pick and choose, because you know what? These are pre-orders, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to buy them, right? But when you're being asked to actually do a Kickstarter, a crowdsource project, it's one and done. If you don't back it, it doesn't get made, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly.
And the decisions that the company makes, to try and get them made, whether or not they have, and you know what? A lot of people are going to say this, and I agree. It should be about the product first.
Yeah.
The first thing you should worry about, forget about the tiers. That's not what you should worry about. You should worry about if this is worth it to you. Is this car worth it to you, right? Is this car worth it to you? Is this place, is this castle, right? This tower, these towers, are these worth it to you, right? That's where the 550 is going, right? That's where the money is going. The money is going to this car. The money is going to these three towers. That's where this money is going. Everything else, the moat monster, Gray Skull, right? As a bonus, the moat monster as a stretch goal, Kelkar as a stretch goal, right? Those are bonuses, right? You shouldn't be thinking about those, right? You should be thinking about this. Is this worth it to you, right? Right? And similar with Rob Reyes. This is what you're backing. You're not backing anything else. Don't even think about anything else. This is what you're backing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they threw in a head, right? It doesn't matter that everyone loves a little head, but it doesn't that doesn't matter, right? This guy and whatever this is, these are bonuses, right? If you actually if the campaign gets to it, you as an individual can only do so much, right?
Yeah, but that's a benefit of a fan base making that call to order and making that call to arms and really having something get pushed to the front of the line and really get made. Because if there's no interest, that's the thing we got to look at. If there's no interest, then it doesn't matter what the Kickstarters are or what the benefits are to kickstart this project because it just won't get backed, and so therefore none of it makes sense. None of it's relevant. Just like we're seeing Eternia. You know, it's funny. I've been in sales a long time. I've done it for years and years, and one of the funny things about sales is like you could sell the car as long as you give the consumer a free T-shirt, they're all in. You know, and it's those little things, and I don't know why that is, but there's this allure with the little extras and the little things that come into play, and they make a big difference for a lot of people. So yeah, you always got to consider that and really look at the big picture and say, hey, yeah, you were right, Jay. Is this something I'm really working towards backing and getting out there? Or am I so focused on the littles and the smalls and the little extras that I can't see the forest through the trees? Again, you have to make sure that when you're backing a project as substantial as a car or a play set or a Galactus or Sentinel, you know, that you got to want it. And there's evidence of that when you have, you know, like you said, Galactus Sentinel selling out in 3 days or backing in 3 days or whatever. There was an interest, there was a desire, there was a want from the people, and that spoke through the project, you know, clearly. With some of these projects that are kind of lagging and not meeting those numbers as projected, you have to begin to wonder where is the interest that they were speculating this would take off and really do good. So sometimes it's a hit and a miss. Sometimes it's a home run.
That's right. You know, working at GameStop for, you know, a decade, we were constantly hounded about getting people to pre-order and what were those incentives to pre-order, because everybody was always just like, well, why don't I come in and pick up the game?
Yeah.
And, you know, you had to sell them up on that pre-order and let them know what it is. Pre-order is a guarantee. You put money down on it. I mean, at GameStop, it works a little different because you're not paying for the whole thing at once, but you kind of just put it out there. Like, you know, you put this on pre-order, we're guaranteed to give you a copy of it. And then companies in the long run decided, well, as an incentive, we're going to do pre-order bonuses. So, you know, a lot of times it started off as just some little like trinket thing that came with a game. And eventually a lot of times what it became was some downloadable piece of content that was exclusive to that pre-order, which people definitely really appreciated a lot more. And it was a huge incentive to get people to do that. But, you know, as far as a lot of these companies go, there were certain games that it didn't happen if it didn't get pre-ordered. Borderlands, you know, it's a hugely popular game now. When that game was first being advertised and announced, nobody knew what it was. Nobody really cared. I actually had to cancel my pre-order at my home store and pre-order at another one that I didn't work at because they were having a midnight launch for it and my store wasn't, because we didn't have enough pre-orders. It was like me and 3 other people. So,
or you'd have games like Colonial Space Marines, the Aliens one. That was a terrible game, but if you pre-ordered it, it came with the coolest statue of the AT Walker with the aliens all over it.
Yep.
Hot Wheels is infamous for doing this. When they have a release, they'll actually give you a promotional car if you pre-ordered the game. Again, Uncharted was another one of those. If you pre-ordered Uncharted 3, it came with like a book. It came with, you know, all kinds of stuff. And you know, that's kind of what sells the product nowadays. I think because the market is so hot, I think because they know products have just been flying off for face value, they've forgotten this concept, and they have the means to do so. We talked about this the other night, Jay. They have the means to do so. So I think it's a great tactic to say, you know what, our fan base has been amazing. Our fan base has been consistent. Sales across the board have been through the roof. Let's give them something back, i.e. something for a project or you know, if they were smart and they knew that HasLab was really struggling, if HasLab was smart, they'd say, okay, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to give you the Robbie Reyes figure. We're going to eat it on the back end because we know that's what it's going to take to get this made. Because people want Mephisto, we can't give them Mephisto early. It's the order in which they set these tiers as well. That's important. If you swapped those tiers around, now you have the first stretch Mephisto, then you had the Goblin Queen, and then Robbie Reyes at the end. I think you're looking at a totally different HasLab. So it's about set and order, and then like Ostradamus was saying, the little things end up being big things that end up selling the package sometimes.
Yep. But yeah, again, even just what I was saying about it, like, with Ramen Toys, he's got to get a certain number of pre-orders to make sure that his thing comes to market. And
but
like
he's a smaller entity. He's a way smaller entity. So that makes sense. For a bigger entity, they should be able to say, hey, well, we could eat this. We'll just include this, we can eat this. Let's just include it to spark up sales interest. Guys like Ramen, they're a lot smaller. So they have to make that money up right in the front, so that way they can cover their back end, where the big companies like that, they don't worry about this. But when it loses, they have to find something to cover their back end, because this is just a loss for HasLab,
And again, that's what I was trying to keep saying, is that's a pre-order. It's not a crowdfund. And when something doesn't get pre-ordered, then sometimes that just won't happen because there's not enough demand for it. Borderlands, we didn't have copies of that game because there was no demand at my store. So people were showing up the day of launch looking for this game, and they're like, well, why don't you have any copies? And it's like, because nobody pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what does that matter? And it's like, well, when you ask, why should I put money down to pre-order something? This is why sometimes. But it's different than a crowdsource project, because it's like there is intent already. Whereas crowdsource, it's can we get away with making this?
Yeah.
It's a challenge. It's a risk. Sometimes that's a calculated risk that doesn't pan out. Star Wars has found that out pretty hard. And this is going to be the first time that Marvel finds out. It really looks like Marvel's going to find out that we may not see this Ghost Rider. And again, Jay, we've talked about that, and it's been mentioned before that there is always that last week that the pre-orders might take off, or
vital push
might be there that last week. But unfortunately for the fans that want to get it for getting Mephisto, because some people would want to back it just for him, they don't want to. They might sell the car, they might sell Robbie Reyes, they might sell Madeline Pryor because they just want Mephisto. But it doesn't look like those guys are going to end up being a part of this.
Yeah, it's the last week is always the FOMO, right? A lot of people are gonna make a decision. But with this one, it's hard. It's hard to really see what's going to happen here. This one, but I'm leaning towards the fact that it may not fund. I mean, it's been on a downward spiral ever since. I mean, we saw it. We showed it here. Where is it here? Oh, wrong one. We saw it here. I mean, look, freaking, where is it here? 6,056 backers at its peak, right? We did a countdown, Oz, you and I together. 6,056 backers at its peak. It is now sitting at, and just doing a quick refresh, it is now sitting at 5,126.
Ow.
Crap. Like that's 900 and what was it again?
936, I think you said it was.
Let's do it.
Almost 1,000. Almost 1,000 left.
Yeah, near 1,000. Near 1,000 losses. Like it's crazy.
That's actually after a small bounce back that it had. It did bounce back a little. It was lower at one point, and it did regain some traction there. But it's just been dropping.
930 losses. 930 retracted bids.
But here's something that we haven't really spoke about either. It hasn't even been brought up once, is that, the sales 10 years ago didn't have this much internet backing. There is an incredible amount of internet talk, storm, water cooler talk, IG, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever it is. People are talking about the project. People find those groups to chat and talk with each other about projects and about these things. And now that we have crowdsourcing funds, which have a timeline, right? We're looking at this timeline. Within that timeline, everybody's talking and texting and twittering and taking pictures and has their opinion, and they have outlets and platforms to do so and project that opinion. And the power of suggestion is huge. And we're seeing that as another part of the market that has a strong influence on whether or not projects get backed. So with a lot of the internet haze that I've seen on the project just for pricing, the lack of interest to give back to the consumer, and just the amount of numbers that we're seeing just dwindle while other projects come out and other buzz gets circulated, that comes into effect, and that plays a big role.
100%. There's things have changed a lot. I mean, we talk at length about how times have changed, and like what's it called, what's it called, inflation, and all these other things that really play into these types of increasing in value or even decreasing in value when you really think about it. But it's just not, it's an ever evolving thing with anything, right? But you know what? There's in a lot of ways, you just have to look at your priorities, right? It really does, at the end of the day, really come down to what is important for you now. What is important for you tomorrow? What is important for you, within 5 years, 10 years? Do you have a family? Do you have kids? Do you have, do you have to worry about your kids' college tuition? Do you have to worry about all these other things? These things really come into it. And then there's the opposite of that. Your kids have just graduated. They're making their own money. All of a sudden, you have disposable income that you don't know what to do with. You're sitting on. Do you build a porch? Do you get a swimming pool, or do you build your action figure collection? Right. These are things that a lot of people are now coming into this question. But with the political climate the way it is, with the state of the world as it is right now, you can't use toys to feed you. You can't use toys to put on your back and make you warmer. You can't use toys to further. You can't use toys to get people to like you. They're sorry. Maybe you can do that. I don't know. But at any rate, you need, what you do with toys is usually a self-driven interest, right? So you got to choose what is the most important thing to you at the time.
Yeah.
Chuck Petty says, Eternia has 4,164 backers. I'm proud of the Motu fans. I'm glad you true fans are getting behind the company, the brand, showing love for your fandom. Hasbro fans hate Hasbro. Ouch. That
It's
hurt.
a deep cut against Hasbro, but there's a couple of things that buy into that. One of those big things is, and Jay from Geek Dad Life has mentioned it several times, the new CEO of that company said he was gonna, and it was in a actual, publicly broadcast meeting where he mentioned he was going to increase profits without increasing customer base. There's really very few ways you do that. You either lay off a whole lot of people, or you raise your price significantly. And Hasbro has been doing that. So it's not so much that Hasbro fans hate Hasbro. They really don't like that guy because he's making some pretty poor decisions overall. It's not like the G.I. Joe fans are there. The G.I. Joe fans, they love their team right now.
Absolutely.
Here's what the crazy thing is, real fast. Hasbro, you're forgetting number one flagship for Hasbro. What's the number one flagship for Hasbro? It's Magic the Gathering. So when they're making most of their revenue, and since they've acquired Magic the Gathering and Wizards, it's been their number one cash cow ever since. So it's not like they're hurting for money. It's not like they're hurting for profits. It's not. They're trying to attack and source the toy division, which is severely lacking. But since they have the money and means to, with the best revenue years they've ever seen from Magic, they're not hurting for money. So the fact that they're, like I said, they're either laying off employees or raising prices to make those margins, it's terrible. It's a terrible practice. And you know what? The community is reacting. And that's why we're seeing 1,000 numbers less than we were a couple weeks ago for the HasLab project, if not more, coming up.
Absolutely. Princeton Phalanx is echoing what Oz said, saying that not when they tell their shareholders that they had record sales, but are laying off their employees. Total BS. 100%. Well, guys, we've been talking a lot about crowdsourced projects tonight, and I wanted to highlight a crowdsourced project, which I think everyone should consider. One of the things we haven't talked about at all, really, is independent creators. I think that in terms of like crowdsourced projects, independent creators are the ones who can benefit the most from crowdsourcing. We've seen it multiple times, with Ouya years ago, right? We've seen it with the Plunderlings, wonderful project that's been backed multiple times over. We've seen it with Bobby Valaverse and his Valaverse figures. Great project that's gone forward. And you know what? Comic creators are some of the beneficiaries of crowdsourced projects. And I want to bring in another guest tonight who has his own crowdsourced project, which is going on right now. And you know what? If everybody's interested in this project, you can help it to be funded and get your own version of this particular project. Guys, please help me welcome Jilly from Jilly Comics. Jilly, how's it going, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I couldn't help but notice the talk here is really deep, especially with crowdfunding and toys. Fans feeling slighted, and just the value of the dollar and all that. So it's important that crowdfunding helps get to certain places. And I don't know you guys' names, but one of you guys said that the big companies are really in a position of power to like make the right moves, and sometimes we're not seeing them moves get made. So I grew up like you guys, 80s, 90s, Motu, TMNT, a lot of my passion there with collecting action figures, Marvel, all that. I saw the HasLab with the Ghost Rider, not hitting the stride, and we're seeing backers of, falling off. Will it get funded? They try to make up for the back end. But I got my own project going on. Hopefully one day it could see the action figure treatment. That would be so cool. But here's just a little glimpse of what I do. It's called Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. All right. If you guys grew up on TMNT, Biker Mice from Mars, they're not gerbils. They're not hamsters. These are capybaras. If you know what a capybara is, you'll know they're the most chill animal in the universe. They even get along with crocodiles. I swear the photos I seen weren't Photoshopped. And it's a labor of love. If you look at the quality of the art, it could hang with IDW titles. It could hang with Marvel and DC. I got a great team on this, a great artist, a great colorist, a great letterer, and I'm the writer on this. But just channeling that Saturday morning cartoon love in comic book form, trying to do something in the underground, trying to get it out there to the backers that appreciate these cool projects that are kind of floating under the radar. And hopefully I could cultivate my own little readership, and who knows what the possibility holds as far as the future. But it's a fun comic, man. That's all I can say. I'm having fun creating it, and the few backers that have read our story are really digging it. I mean, just the story and art speaks for itself. And Gilly here, I'm just a newbie guy. I've been grinding on the crowdfunding circuit for almost 8 years, trying to break into the mainstream big two, but it's very hard. It's very competitive. But hey, I just do my thing to hopefully hope a shot comes around.
Yes, Jilly, taking a look at some of your work here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know what? Does anybody know what a copy?
Isn't it the world's largest rodent?
Thank you. Yes,
yes, it is.
The world's largest rodent, correct?
The world's largest rodent. Yes, sir. They could even swim underwater, hold their breath for up to 5 minutes, and
they're pretty tough. They're pretty tough creatures. They're pretty resilient. They're water bound. They're land bound. They can hang with crocodiles, like you said. That's a pretty tough breed of creature.
Once you get a crocodile's respect and you're a mammal, that's it, man.
Right. It's pretty much the way it goes. Any reptile that respects you when you're a mammal and they don't look at you as food, you've made it.
Man.
I'm
just right off the bat
cover right there, our TMNT homage cover, because I grew up on TMNT, man. So
yeah, look at the colors, look at that line work. I mean, the design is outrageous, man. This is really good stuff.
They're turtle ninjas. Yeah, those guys are turtle ninjas. I can't call them Ninja Turtles, and they're known as the Shinobi Turtles of Doom. But that's my little homage in there. And it comes across as such a nod. It doesn't come across like it's smarmy. It doesn't come across as it's what it's just throwing a nod to what you love. I got a shark there, Street Sharks reference there.
Nice.
So I'm building up my own world while at the same time giving props to just my inspirations as a kid growing up,
Right.
Tell us about the story, though, Julie. Where, who are these rodents? Why are they bounty hunters? Are they heroes? What are they?
So the story centered around a trio of capybara bounty hunters and their gunslinger gecko father. And where the story takes place is literally an interstellar bounty is suddenly placed on their heads from a figure in the past that they don't know is connected to them. And he's called, that's the person who put the bounty on him is the one in the cloak, Dark Raider. That's his name. And those are the Sniper Vipers. So he's just hell bent on getting the Galactic Goddess of Mayhem. And of course, their dad, Gangon, who is the father figure to the capybaras. And it's just, it's like a Saturday morning cartoon on steroids, just going full throttle. If you like anime, even if you like video games, there's a lot of video game references a little bit there. I do have a Star Fox reference in there. If you guys read, you'll see. Dude, I'm just having so much fun with this. And at the same time, trying to make it our own so people can see. It's very hard to start a new IP, especially in this climate. Everything is like, you don't want to take risks. So I'm trying to say, hey, you can take a risk if it's done right, and it could pay off. And hopefully the fans will see, the passion behind what we're trying to do with this book.
I'm loving these shots here. Like the quality of the book looks amazing. I love the vibrancy of the artwork. Printed. There's nothing quite like holding a printed piece of material in your hands. You know what I mean? Like we're all collectors here. We don't want anything digital. You know what I mean? Yeah. Digital comics. Like what's going on with that? Seriously, we want something physical in our hands. We want to be able to enjoy the artwork with our own two eyes. You know what I mean? And who's your artist right now? Because you're the writer. Is that correct, Julie?
Yeah, I'm the writer, co-creator, along with my artist buddy Sebastian Navas. He does the artwork, and this is our little labor of love here. And he a lot of his references come from anime as well. What's it? Robotech, Macross, Cyber 6. He has a lot of inspiration. Carlos Meglia is another one of his inspirations, and we're just oozing that into our work because again, it's a labor of love and it's what we love. And it's like, hey, you know what? Sometimes, not to say you get tired of what's being done. I mean, I love Marvel, DC growing up, but there was a time where there was just a disconnect because I'm like, I'm just not seeing a true evolution of the characters. You see a lot of rehashings. You kind of like see a lot of different spins, which are cool. So here we have a lot of freedom in this sandbox just to, do our thing. We even got a theme song that was inspired by TMNT. So if this thing ever becomes an animation down the line, who knows? We have our little own melody to go with it.
Nice.
That's just awesome.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about crowdsourcing. So we've been wrestling with the idea that large companies like Mattel and Hasbro, should they even be in the crowdsource game? Like, because they're billion-dollar companies. Crowdsourcing, when it first started, it was for small creators who didn't have the ability to create, funding for themselves, right? How has crowdsourcing worked for you? And has it been a boon for you, or has it been a struggle?
In full transparency, I've been grinding for 8 years. I work in the education field, so I'm not making the big bucks. So I kind of use crowdsourcing to help with fulfilling my project, with the financing, the art team. And it is kind of hard to kind of get a spotlight or a signal boost on our project because as you just said, a lot of the bigger names are throwing their hat into the crowdfunding game. And perfect example in comics is Boom Studios. They just did a book, a cool looking book called Berserker, and Keanu Reeves. I think it's Keanu Reeves' book. And, that came out on Kickstarter. I think it made $1 million something or maybe over that for pre-orders or whatnot. And it's cool. I would never knock that. I'm just saying, like, that's my level of competition. And when you think about it as the internet being an ocean, and you have like Marvel and DC on these big yachts with these big megaphones saying, check this out, And you got little Gilly here, my little rowboat with my little cardboard roll up saying, hey, check out Grom over here. Check out. People don't hear you. And it's just the nature of the beast. And crowdfunding is getting more and more crowded. You got Todd McFarlane, who crowdfunded, again, his awesome Spawn figure. And there's a lot of great things. I don't want to take away the awesome stuff that's being done. But it does make it harder for little guys like me just trying to, just showcase something. But again, through the 8 years I've been grounding, I found some footing with Grom. And this is a book I'm going to stick with because it's just so fun. So hopefully maybe in about a couple of years or so, just grinding and continuing our story, we get traction and we can attract a publisher or maybe a toy partner or something. But, we're just going to have fun with it,
Yeah. And, there's a saying that we have in the music industry. I'm a professional musician.
Awesome.
And so when you're playing on stage, the saying is, if you don't feel it, the audience doesn't feel it. Right. And so, like you said, it's just about staying in love with what you're doing, because eventually people see that. And they get attracted to that energy. They get attracted to that because you're having so much fun with it. They say, oh, hey, I want to have fun too. If you're feeling it, they feel it, and it's a direct result of those two things colliding. So good on you for pushing, especially in such treacherous waters, like you said, with Marvel and DC. It's crazy out there.
It's
pretty wild. But you know what? You're doing it, and the artwork looks fantastic. I can't wait to check out the story myself.
Awesome,
just based off of what you've pitched so far, I'm in. I think it's 2 thumbs up from what I'm seeing here.
Appreciate it, man. I got goosebumps. You can't see on camera, but I got goosebumps.
We're gonna have to let Oz say goodbye tonight because Oz has to get up early in the morning. Oz, thank you again for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, my friend. Do you have anything to say tonight before you log off?
Well, it's been a pleasure doing this with all you guys. Of course, Gilly, it's actually really cool to meet you, man. And I definitely
it's a pleasure.
Project. I do enjoy capybaras, as a matter of fact.
So you knew what a capybara was before that, right?
I did,
That's
man.
my dude.
Yes,
That's my dude. I love that.
So
Awesome.
It's actually really cool. I'm glad to see such a large, lovable rodent actually get some real world love. Everybody's looking at the cute little hamsters.
Oz, where can people reach you and tell them a little bit about your channel before you take off?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So, tomorrow night I'll be doing Ostradamus Toys live on my channel, Ostradamus Toys. You can always check me out there. And this upcoming Thursday, my partner Skelevator and I will be hosting our show Toy Frenzy, which we do every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Pacific. So, yep, if you guys enjoy what you see, you want to come hang out with me, I'll be going live tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Excellent. All right, Oz, we'll see you later. Definitely, guys. So definitely go like and subscribe over at Ostradamus Toys on YouTube. It's a mouthful, that's what she said. Anyway, let's you guys have a great time as always. Thank you so much, Oz. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, brother.
Later, Oz.
See ya.
And then there were 3. So, guys, I'm really excited about this. I am a huge comic book fan, as a lot of people do know, and of course, I always take the opportunity to try and help other creators, talk about their stuff. Jilly, what is your goal for this? Let's go ahead and take a look at that. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're trying to achieve here?
So, 2 years ago, we had launched Galactic Runners of Mayhem, the graphic novel. We were able to crowdfund that successfully, and we're looking to expand our reach. So we thought, hey, why don't we kind of release it episodically on Kickstarter, and we'll just add some cool bonus material. We got some filler stories in there. We got some fan art in there. We got some Q&A with our backers, and a cool behind the scenes of how we make some pages, how we do the colors, some of the covers. So this was what we call the creator's cut, and we released it on Kickstarter, and we had the first chapter, we have the second chapter, and then now we have the closeout for what would be season 1 of our story arc. And we're just trying to just build our audience, and we're trying to just have a nice reserve so we can just keep this comic going, because I'm financing it out of my own pocket, and anything else that helps definitely allows us to grow as a business. So that's that's our goal with this Kickstarter. We had a small goal, I think, of about 3,000, and I think we're able to, get past that, getting close to 5K, which is cool, and unlocking a few stretch goals in the way. But as you can see, 84 backers. So we're noticing when we have a Kickstarter, it's not highlighted. It's not like the moment you jump on Kickstarter and you go into comics, Grom is out as a banner for everyone to see. You're not going to see it. You got to look deep. You got to dig deep. It's almost like going to the mine shaft. You're going all the way in the bottom in the dark. You're putting your flashlight on and you're kind of searching for some of these projects. And then you find Grom, like, what the hell? This looks great. And so I'm noticing with each project, we're getting new backers. So we're just trying to just get more readers and try to establish a loyal following, a little fan base. And that's just been fun in itself. So hopefully we're just trying to keep this going as long as we can through crowdfunding.
All right. So according to now my screen is actually, Jilly, can you share your screen? Basically bring up, if you hit share, if you hit present.
Okay, present. Let me do that.
Hit present and hit share screen.
Present. Share screen.
Yeah, and then
let me do that.
And then select the browser window with Kickstarter.
Did that work?
Yeah, it did. So
cool.
We're showing 6,838 Canadian dollars. But if you take a look at Jilly's screen, they are at 4,926 backers. Guys, let's help this project get to 5,000 backers. Because what happened to 4,000 backers there, Jilly?
We get another stretch goal unlock. Where one of our stretch goals that we'll be unlocking at 5K is we kind of do a trading card with each campaign. So this will be a hollow foil. We've never done a hollow foil card. So this will be our first hollow foil card if we break that goal. And then at 6K, we'll add some more. So here's the thing. If you guys ever watch anime, you know how you have fillers and we all hate the fillers, right? So with the creative way I'm trying to go about fillers, so we have Galactic Ordinance of Mayhem, the acronym GROM. So I have something called GROM Bites. And that's like 3-4 page little short stories of what's going on in our universe. And if we get to 6K, if that happens, we would just add more of another Grom filler, so to speak. But if we don't make it, hey, we're always going to have, a Kickstarter or Indiegogo. We're just, trying to get started, and we'll always have cool stuff. And we're listening a lot to the backers. So some backers have been excited with Grom. We have one who has a cool channel, Speaky Geeky. If you guys ever heard of Speaky Geeky, he's done some cool interviews with Super 7 and NECA about their TMNT and the direction that they're going. And he's been a fan of Galactic Ordinance of Mayhem, and he has given some great feedback on the direction where we can take. And it's just cool hearing fans excited about it. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So what tiers are your most popular tiers right now, and how can people help you?
So right now we have for people that are just getting in, we do have physical copies, but I'm trying to see right now. We have I know you hate digital, but for those who are on a budget, we offer 1 through 4, our first series arc digitally, and we also have our 1 through 4. So if you just missed the campaign or you just jumping in for the first time, we got 26 backers. So out of that 86, 26 are first-time backers because they came in and they backed the 1 through 4 physical copies of Grom. So that's showing me that with each campaign I'm doing, I'm always getting new backers. So for anyone just jumping in, you could, you have issues 1 through 4. And if you're on a budget, you can only back maybe the first issue or second issue. We got more issues through add-ons, but we're always going to be having a Kickstarter every couple of months, and we'll always give you the opportunity to catch up on what you missed. So basically people coming in, jumping in on board here, they're pretty much going to be able to get in on the whole first series arc.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that gives back to anybody that missed it in the beginning, which is amazing. And, it's something that really translates with buyers, backers, consumers. Mm-hmm. And the holo card is really cool too. Congrats on that. That's a cool thing to do. Do you have that by chance? Do you have a sneak preview?
I have some cards that are they're like in. If I would have been prepared, I'd have had some right here. I just grabbed and showed you. We do have some very cool cards on the campaign. Let me see if I can just show you how some of the cards look. And now that I'm seeing my stretch goals, 5,000 gets everyone a Grom number 4 variant cover. So basically, if you back a physical copy, you're getting that copy, but you'll be getting an additional variant. So wow.
Wow,
We're
that's
so close to
huge.
that. The variant cover is actually pretty cool. I don't know what we're gonna do with
Yeah,
the variant cover. I didn't think we're gonna get there, but wow. So that's a
I
whole
really
new
like
free
that.
cover.
Yeah.
That's literally a whole new free. So basically, it's
I was-
issues 1 through
I
4.
was going to say that
but
because I
it'll be a
noticed that
bonus,
was
yeah.
one of the stretch goals, and I was wondering why you didn't highlight that one. That was kind of weird.
Yeah,
But
that's really
Yeah,
cool.
I thought that one was like at 5,500. I'm like, wow, that one's at 5,000. So everyone, literally, if we get that, everyone's getting an extra copy. So let's just say, if you don't understand, if you just back issues 1 through 4, that's in the bag. For backing a physical copy, you're also going to get a bonus variant copy of issue number 4.
Yeah.
So you'll have 2 issue number
That's
4s
cool.
with the regular cover and whatever the variant cover is going to be, which seems like that one might
And again,
happen.
as this project takes off and moves down the line, these numbers are going to be harder to get. So if you have that variant cover, and this
that's going to be
continues down the line,
That's an
this is
exclusive.
very exclusive content. You know, this is a very exclusive limited print run. So guys, be sure to go check
That's
him
cool,
out
man.
and check out these exclusive covers and this amazing artwork. I mean, the color, whoever you got to do your color is incredible.
We got a guy, Tiago Barca. This guy is amazing in the underground scene, and forget it, he's going to be our grand mainstay colorist, because again, as you see the colors, it's the colors, the art, everything speaks for itself, and the story is high energy. It's I try to, because I'm so visual, I grew up more watching cartoons, watching movies, reading comics than reading actual prose. I mean, not that I don't read, I'll read some prose here or there, but I'm more visual. So I tend to write in a way that's more visual. I don't know. I've been told that some of my comics read like a video game. I mean, that's just, I guess the influence is there. So if you pick it up, even for people who just maybe haven't got into comics, or it's, maybe just, because there are people that just left comic for a while, check out Grom, because it could be a good way to get you back in. And our comic book size, it's bigger than the traditional comic book size. Ours is 8x3 by 11 by 7. So, it's almost 8.5 by 12. And you're probably wondering what, but if I show you like my screen, a kind of comparison, let me see if I could do that real quick.
Do you guys offer a black and white pen and ink comic?
No, but our buddy Speaky Geeky has said that a Nash can. He likes the idea of a Nash can, so that's something that we might do. So here's this is our size, right? And here's a traditional comic size, right? This is hamster vice, right? There's actually a thing. I don't know if you could say, but you see how it kind of dwarfs it a little bit?
Oh yeah, look at that.
So this is original comic size, and ours is bigger. Why? Because again, I'm a visual guy, so I want, when you open that magazine, you get kind of lost in the story. Like the art just grabs you. That's just I just wanted that.
Can you hold up that cover again real fast? Mm-hmm. Guys, look at the cardstock. Look at the paper he's using. Look at that gloss. Look at how well that's coming across right now. That's outstanding.
So now I want to see if I could do something here. Han, could you come here when you get a chance?
Yeah.
All right.
So that's actually more magazine size than it is actually a comic.
This is more magazine size, and this is actually from this is the first volume. This is like the literally 100 pages here that we did on Indiegogo. So what you'll get with the Kickstarter, I want to show you.
I love the crease mark.
Yeah, this is my personal copy.
Did he say 100 pages?
In the
100 pages.
Wow.
It's a compendium. It's an anthology.
So real quick, just so we know, so this was what I crowdfunded on Indiegogo 2.5 years ago. Okay, wow. I literally had to close that campaign early because I priced this at $25 like a nut job, because I operate outside of the margins of mainstream. Okay, this is just little Gilly here, right? So I should have priced it out of a boutique price, because again, just to try to make something, because it was almost like we couldn't keep it going. We funded the campaign. Everyone got their book, but we had to stop it because Indiegogo has a feature where after you crowdfund a campaign, it stays open and it's called in demand. And even after the campaign's funded, you could still go on and, but people were backing. I'm like, man, at 25 something, like I couldn't. It's just, it was crazy. We learned, we regrouped, and now we offering the episodic versions on Kickstarter. We will eventually release, I guess you could say like the anthology or for people who like omnibuses, a Gromnibus. We'll definitely get there. But as of now, the 100-page ones, they're not available anymore. But you're gonna see when my wife comes with the creator's cut, because it's still hefty, it's still thick, and it's very like magazine quality with the cover compared to an original comic book.
All right, so I put a link to Jilly's Kickstarter on the chat, guys. Please definitely check out Jilly Writes Comics and of course his Grom comic book. Jilly, I want to thank you so much for being here tonight.
Appreciate it, man.
Collecting Classics, Ray, thank you again for being here tonight. You guys are freaking awesome. Guys, it has been an amazing weekend, and so many different things are happening. Toys, comics, everything under the sun. But you know what? It's always good to have good friends who join the chat. So definitely want to thank everybody for being here tonight. We're going to wrap it up for tonight, guys. It's been a solid two and a half hours now. It's pretty cool. It's always a pleasure to have each and every one of you guys here. Ray, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how people can see can follow you on your channel?
What's up, guys? Collecting Classics here. I predominantly focus on Instagram and Masters of the Universe. We just did a box opening today of Grayskull. You can catch that in the posts that are currently up right now. I just want to say thanks to Jay for having us on the show. As always, Jay does such a great job here on the channel and on Instagram and helps so many communities and independent people out. It's really great what you do, Jay. So I just want to give you a personal shout out and thank you. And Gilly, it was a pleasure meeting you and seeing your art and seeing what you got going on. That's really inspiring stuff. I'm going to hook up with you on IG. I'll see you over there on the Instagram. And other than that, I got Motu Wednesday, which is our hour show that comes on Wednesday. I'll be doing a 1 o'clock and a 9 o'clock. So 2 shows to look forward to, and that's it for me.
Awesome. Julie, why don't you give everybody a rundown as how they can meet you and how best they can support your project.
Collecting Classics, thank you. Jay, thank you so much again for allowing me the opportunity to share my awesome work. It's been hard to spotlight some of my cool work, so thank you. If any guys want to connect with me, I'm at GillyWritesComics.com. Also, Instagram is Gilly Writes Comics. You can check me out there. And on my website, if you weren't able to see the link in the description on my website, I have a link to the crowdfunding campaign and other places where you can connect me on social media. So again, I want to thank you guys so much for championing the passion of our inner child, because even though we get older, we still love nostalgia and we still love those moments that make us feel good. And that's what I want to channel with my comic book work. So thank you again, Mega J, for the spotlight. Collecting Classics, appreciate all the lovely things you said, because I do take it and I digest it and it feels good and it makes me know that the grind and the trenches will soon pay off. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity.
Always, guys, always. I do my best to actually, have good friends on the channel, and you know what, Jilly's been inspiring in terms of what he's able to do. Like I love comic books, and I love what he's doing right now. Guys, definitely check out Collecting Classics, Ray, and of course Jilly Writes Comics. You guys can check out all of their great channels as they've mentioned them here tonight. I left a Kickstarter. I've left the link to the Kickstarter for Grom up on the chat. So guys, definitely give them a like and a follow, and of course support this project. Get them over the hump of 5,000. You'll be able to get some really great what's it called?
Perks, awards.
What are they called again? Perks.
Perks, rewards,
great perks. Obviously with the comic books themselves, and of course you're just going to be helping to fund wonderful creators like Jilly, who help to make wonderful content. I mean, seriously, capybaras? Who thought about capybaras?
And the limited edition cover. I mean,
I didn't even know that. I just
stuff.
discovered that. I should know that, right? I'm so aloof sometimes in my own house. I got 2 kids. I'm a father, guys. Sometimes it's just I don't remember to blow my nose. Okay.
It's all good. But he's a collector, and that's what we're all here for. I just
want to throw one thing in there about the capybaras. I had no clue what a capybara was. Okay, I was doing horror stuff. Me and Sebastian, we wanted to do something fun. We got into a throwback to Ninja Turtles. We're like, what's the animal going to be? Sebastian said capybara. I said, what the heck is a capybara? He said, just Google it. I Googled it. I never looked back. Everything came to me. I started working the script. The names, Bash, Ripple, Mona Lisa, everything just came to me. And I was just writing it out, the whole script, everything. So my favorite animal is a capybara, best believe. Okay? So all the capybara lovers out there, we're here.
fun fact: Eastman and Laird, we're doing underground comics, not too dissimilar from horror comics. And one day they were just bored and decided, you know what, I'm just going to draw something. And one of them drew a turtle as a ninja, and look where that is now. Ooh. So best of all the best to you, Jilly. Again, guys, definitely check out that project. I want to thank everybody here for coming and hanging out with us tonight. This is the highlight of my weekend, being able to spend some time with everybody here. You guys are the best. This community is just freaking awesome. Definitely. Thanks again to Osmandius Toys, Ostradamus Toys. God damn it. Ostradamus Toys for being here tonight. He had to step out early, but he is awesome. Definitely give him a like and a follow. Collecting Classics over on Instagram. Definitely give Ray a like, a follow. Of course, Jilly Red's Comics. Definitely check out that link in the chat above. Support the project, guys. Definitely support smaller creators. They are the lifeblood of the industry. They push it. They make it the best. They love what they do. Definitely give them a like and a follow. And of course, tonight, I think we can all agree that both crowdsource projects as well as pre-orders have their pros, their cons. It really is at the end of the day up to you who you want to support, how you want to support them. And of course, I will say that if you enjoy a project, it doesn't matter what I say, what anybody says. If you like it, you back it. It's your money. You do what you want with it. It's your choice. So definitely, guys, always make the decisions that you have to. But again, please don't put yourself out in a situation where you're not going to be able to recover. Please don't do that. Right? Do what you can. You can't eat toys. You can't make them into clothes. You can't do things. You can't keep them. They can't keep them warm. It's just not. It's not what it is. There's more important things. You know what I mean? So, guys, definitely support who you want. Make sure that you check out these two guys. They are awesome creators. But I want to thank each and every one of you for liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, guys. One last word before we sign off.
Have
Jilly.
fun.
Okay.
Have fun.
Have fun. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Mega J is awesome. Smash that like button. He's doing some great things.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
that like button.
So definitely check these guys out. Make sure to give them a like and a follow. My name is Mega J Retro, guys. I really appreciate you hanging out with us. These guys, check them out. They're awesome creators. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe, everybody. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Geek proud, everybody. And of course,
Geek proud.
Geek proud. Geek out.